Welcome everybody to another BDA Boxing transmission. BDA podcast, whatever you want to call it. Mixing up a bunch of drums now here. This is your host, Mr. BDA. Glad to have you on board. My co-host King Bucho will be joining me shortly. Beautiful Thursday evening here in good old Canada. Before we start, I want to remind you that if you want to join us, all you got to do is go to Google Hangouts and send us an instant message via the email address that's on the top of your screen, boxingdebate@hotmail.com. That's boxingdebate@hotmail.com. Also want to remind you that we do have a Patreon page in which you can donate so that we can get closer to getting that call-in show where we're going to be having open phone lines for anybody to call in. And I want to thank everybody so far that's donated, both on Patreon and on the Super Chat. Thank you very much, guys. You guys are part of the BDA family. Everybody's part of the BDA family, whether you donate or not. But those that donate, you're really taking part in something very special here. It's so special that I'm fumbling for words right now. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe this goddamn channel. Really helps us out. Remember that for those that are listening on Spreaker, where you can download our podcast now, downloadable MP3 format, this is being broadcast right now live on YouTube. So if you want to hear the full version, gallop on over to youtube.com. That's youtube.com/BDA Boxing, youtube.com/BDA Boxing, and you can join us right there and listen to the show. We got a pretty good setup with a live chat and everything. The live chat is on the screen. You can listen or read rather what a bunch of degenerate boxing fans have to tell us. And speaking of degenerate boxing fans, let's see what the degenerates are saying right now. Recognize the Matrix. Shout out to Recognize. Luke Peterson, Louis Blanc, Mighty Claire, 100% X, Bal Sagat, Death Vibes, The Quags, Joey Ocean, and many more people. 100% X is already starting his malarkey in the chat room. He says, damn Quags, that pisses me off. How come that devil Recognize can get sick, but a brother like you can? Oh, Quags is sick? Yeah, he says, I've been sick all week. I think somebody tried to poison me. Was it the Russians or was it Kim Jong-un with a bunch of VX gas? Now, we know VX gas can be countered by thermite plasma, but that's not fully operational. Hummel knows this. Anyway, Dr. Steelhammer says X is on fire. So I'm glad to have everybody on board here. Let me just since all right. By the way, people, since I'm without Bucho right now, so the invites are gonna come slowly. I can't take care of all the invites right now. So if you want to come in, go ahead and tell me in advance so I can invite you. Otherwise, I can't send the mass invites right now. Speaking of invites, we got Ray on the line. Ray, are you there?
Yep. How's it going?
Good to have you back. Were you at Second Renaissance? Not yesterday, but the before the last episode, or were you the last time I think I saw you was on Saturday, right?
I was typing. I was at work. I think right. Saturday day or during the Lomachenko fight. Yeah, I was chatting.
Hey, speaking of Lomachenko, did you see that Ring TV has him number 1 pound for pound now?
I thought he was number 2. He swapped with Crawford.
He bumped Golovkin apparently. Ring TV had Golovkin number 1, and now they have Lomachenko number 1.
Well, yesterday or the day before he was number 2. They moved him from 3 to 2. No, they're still showing him number 2 right now, unless they haven't updated the page.
Yeah, that's the thing. They haven't updated that one, but from there's an article here that says Ring's ratings update. Lomachenko wins Ring lightweight title and moves up the pound. Oh, actually, does that mean he was number 3 before?
Yeah, he was 3. He swapped with Crawford.
Oh, okay. I get now I understand what you're saying. Okay, yeah. Well, what do you think? Should he be number 1? Who do you have number 1?
I think that's fair that he's number 2. I think Golovkin has just cleared out and beaten so many of his people over a much longer period of time that I think number 1 is well deserved. Plus, we all know he beat Canelo, so
yeah, that's the thing.
I think though, if Lomachenko beats Garcia and maybe 1 or 2 other guys at that weight, I think you can easily put him up to number 1 though.
Right, let me ask you this. What's a better win, Garcia or Canelo?
I don't know. It's tough to say, man, to be honest with you.
Because, I mean, do you think most people would say Canelo just based on the fact that he's a bigger
because of the
name?
name, yeah.
Yeah. I think Canelo's slightly the better, because, he's got a good win over Cotto.
Yeah.
But Mikey Garcia's been very impressive himself. I mean, the Lipinets fight, he wasn't that impressive, but he got the job done, against a tough guy.
Yeah, I mean, he played it a little more cautiously, like he did with Broner.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's a lot more cautious of the weight and being outweighed. So
Right.
I think 135 is definitely best for him.
Yeah, I think so too, man. He looked flabby at 140 against Lipinets, even though he didn't look flabby against Broner.
Yeah, he's never been super cut up, though.
Right. And by the way, we got
not how he is.
You know what? Actually, sorry. Before I continue, Lipinets, Boxing Style, and myself, we're the only ones that really give Lipinets credit for being a good fighter. Seems like everybody else thinks that.
They were shitting on him when that fight was announced.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was a nobody, and I'd seen him fight a few times. I thought he was a good fighter. I didn't see what people were all up in arms about, but I think they're just mad that Mikey's bouncing around and choosing belts. But I mean, fuck, Lomachenko's doing the same thing.
Yeah, but Garcia
he beat up Rocky Martinez. He moved to another division, got another belt, and he did it again. So,
mm-hmm.
I mean, I wouldn't call, Lomachenko a cherry picker, but you move up and you beat the champion of the division. That says something right there.
Yeah, I agree, man. But Garcia, he's pissing people off just based on the fact that he's unclear about what he wants, and now he's saying that he wants 3 fights before he takes on Lomachenko. So I understand where the animosity comes from people. By the way, I see we've got King Bucho and Greg on the line. Greg, are you there?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Nice avatar, by the way.
Hold on. First of all, I changed my profile pictures, so I had a little funny picture, and it's not come up on it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Nice avatar.
Oh, is it working on it for you?
Yeah.
Oh,
is that your great-great-grandfather?
Yeah, man. Old Dempsey Greg. He was a half kangaroo, half man. Anyway,
no, I was talking about the guy with the mustache. You know what? That's how you fight a kangaroo. You put on some nice clothes. I've seen these videos of these Australian guys fighting kangaroos. They got no shirt on. They got like cut off jean shorts and everything. Nah, you got to put a suit and a tie on, and then you go to work.
That kangaroo's a weight bully, if I ever saw one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a big fucking kangaroo. That looks like Jamie Munguia, by the way. Well, you don't know who Jamie Munguia is?
What were we saying about Selby Warrington anyway?
Was that?
Selby Warrington.
Oh, we're gonna get to that. But we got a whole bunch of stuff to I want to wait for more people to get here. Bucho, are you there, by the way?
Yep.
Oh, we got King Bucho on the line. Now, wait a minute. What's going on here? Oh, yeah, we got Bucho. I couldn't hear you. Sorry. And I know you're there.
The king is here.
You can have Kenny Bayless as a referee in every single fight. So you're all happy.
The king is here.
That's right. King Bucho in the house. All right. By the way, we're talking about Mikey Garcia and the fact that some people don't like him because he says he wants 3 fights before he takes on Lomachenko, and he's been very unclear about who he wants to fight next. And Bob Arum came out and says that he doesn't want to negotiate with Mikey Garcia. He says, I'm gonna make him an offer, and if he doesn't like it, fuck him. Do you think Bob Arum does Bob Arum really want a Mikey Garcia fight, or does he want Lomachenko to take on Beltran this August and keep all the money in-house?
I think he wants to unify eventually. Lomachenko's going to get Beltran's belt, and then Mikey's going to get Robert Easter's belt, and then you'll have a unification later down the line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Plus, Mikey's waiting on what's that? Eddie Hearn and whatever. Zuffa, whoever the fuck the next one that's going to start up their own boxing company, the MMA one. So he's trying to sell himself out right now. So
yeah, maybe. I mean, Mikey Garcia has no direct affiliation with the PBC. You know what I mean? I think he's got a bit of a loose contract with them. I don't even know who his actual promoter is.
He doesn't have one. He just, Heyman's technically an advisor, right? So people just go off and fight on PBC without having a contract. So I don't think he wants to fight now, right? Why would you want to take a fight and risk a loss and then risk a big contract with one of these new companies that are starting up? So, it definitely is not going to be the next fight, but potentially down the line. Depends on, I guess, who he signs with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, there's a lot of people, new people coming in here in boxing. You got Hearn, who's trying to make it into North America. You got Dana White, supposedly says he wants to get into boxing. I think Dana White's going to have a harder time than Eddie Hearn, because Eddie Hearn's already into boxing. He's a pretty big name, or the biggest name, biggest promoter in England. So he's got a foot in the door. In other words, Dana White, he's got to prove himself, just like 50 Cent and Jay-Z couldn't prove themselves. Mikey Garcia, I think Eddie Hearn has his eyes set on the guy, because, like you said, he doesn't have an actual promoter.
Oh, I'm sure he does. I'm sure he's going after a ton of the PBC guys, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure he's going for Spence and, anybody else, any other of the top guys that aren't really signed to a contract.
Well, I have a couple of quotes here from Eddie Hearn that I've been reading on the internet. We're going to get to them later, but as it stands for Bob Arum, he's the type of guy that's going to take his sweetest time to make a fight. I mean, although we got to give him credit, he cooperated with De La Hoya to make the Linares-Lomachenko fight. But Mikey Garcia is a whole other proposition, because he's very difficult. I mean, he wanted out of his contract with Bob Arum. And then once that he finally resolved the issue legally, then he starts saying he wants to take on Crawford and Lomachenko, the two names of the guy of whose company just left. So I don't understand what Mikey Garcia wants. What does he want? He just wants to keep the most money for himself. But does he realistically think he's going to be able to get either Crawford or Lomachenko? Especially since Bob Arum is pissed off at him.
Yeah, I mean, but didn't wasn't there a lawsuit between Golden Boy and Top Rank too?
Regarding what?
I don't know. I just wasn't there a lawsuit previously between them two?
I don't know, man. I mean, the last time I remember they got into litigation was over Pacquiao.
Yeah.
And that was 10 years ago, more than that. So I don't. It's a good question. I don't know.
Well, I know for a fact they've all sued PBC though, right?
yeah, that's.
and Bob's made fights with PBC. John Molina and Terrence Crawford. That was PBC and Top Rank. So, I mean, they can, if they really want to make it happen, they can. It all depends on how Mikey wants to. Mikey's selling point, I guess, how much he thinks he deserves.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, like you said, if they really want to make the fight, they make it happen, right? But then there's the ego involved as well. If you don't like the number, fine. Because Bob Arum has options with Lomachenko and Mikey Garcia. He's got Robert Easter Jr. coming up next, so they could potentially stall that fight. Because, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, Mikey Garcia and Lomachenko, they're both in the same wheelhouse. They're both they've proven that they're above everybody else, everybody that they've beaten. So it's the logical fight to make. I don't understand what better fight there is at lightweight or a junior welterweight. It is the fight to make.
I think Mikey beats Lomachenko, to be honest.
Now, see, that's interesting, Greg, because I've been telling people that I think the Garcia-Lomachenko fight is closer than most people think, but the majority of people, either in the chat or the panelists or just all over the internet, would heavily favor Lomachenko. So why do you favor Mikey Garcia over Lomachenko?
It's the same thing with every Lomachenko fight. He just needs more time. He needs more time in professional fights. You know what I mean? To get his foot in. What do you look at what's his name? Gypsy King. Why they're sticking him in with nobody 3 weeks out from fighting? They're putting him in. They're not announced a fighter. You need to boil fighters over for a bit. You need to give them some time, some space to grow. Mickey Garcia's had 35 fights or something like that.
Yeah, well,
he's had a load, hasn't he? And he's got the confidence to step into that ring. He knows that there's a craft to setting up a fight as well. Who goes in first? Who does the ring work first?
Right.
Who steps in and all that? And who's the A side and all that shit? Yeah, Lomachenko's never had a chance to sort of deal with that because he's always been the B side in every fight he's gone into.
Well, that's the thing. First of all, you mentioned the experience of Mikey Garcia. He was brought up pretty well by Top Rank, as you were talking about. The development fights. He came up against some tough veterans like Oliver Lonchi. You know, he had a couple of good fights in there. I'm very familiar with Lonchi because I saw him fighting here in Canada, and he also beat guys like, you know, veterans like Walter Estrada. He took on the undefeated Matt Remillard, who later went on to jail, but he was a good fighter. You know, he took out the tough Filipino Concepcion, and from then on, he started jumping onto top 10 guys like Salido, Juan Manuel Lopez, Roman Martinez, and Juan Carlos Burgos, who people forget was a very good fighter himself. Dijan Sladikanin, I think it's one of his underrated wins as well. He knocked the guy out in 3 rounds. Now, if you want to compare common opponents, both guys did relatively not the same, but they did pretty well against Martinez. I mean, Lomachenko looked better against Martinez, but at the end of the day, they both dominated their opposition and ended up stopping him. So that's what I don't see. Styles make fights. I'm not saying that just because they beat the same opponent. I mean, this ain't boxing mathematics. But what I'm saying is they were in the same league. Both guys deserve to be in that ring together. And for people to say that, oh, you know, Lomachenko just wipes the floor with him, you saw that wasn't quite the case against Linares, right?
I honestly think that Linares is a tougher fight for him.
Really?
And I think it's because of the hand speed. Mikey doesn't have the hand speed that Linares does.
Linares is big as well.
And you noticed how Linares put him down. Linares is much better, I think, at pivoting and throwing quick little shots. And that's how he knocked Lomachenko down. You know, he's got a snappy little super fast punch. And I think it's much better than Garcia's. I think Garcia's got like more sustained power. But I don't think he just had the athleticism that Linares did. And, you know, I think if you're going to be able to outbox Lomachenko, your athleticism has got to be pretty damn high.
Could we talk about the knockdown as well? Because I wasn't on the other shows to talk about that.
Yeah, go ahead.
The way he addressed the knockdown was very professional, very Lomachenko. Straight away, he realised he got caught out, fell down. Normally, the thing to do when you get knocked down is to stay there for a few seconds, isn't it? Recover yourself. But he knew straight away he wasn't rocked. He got straight back up, went straight to the corner. He knew it was a cock up and that. And I thought it was a very professional way. The way he handled himself, he wasn't shocked. He didn't know like what was going on around me. Straight away went into neutral corner and that. It was just one of those experience things that I'm talking about. He needs more fights. He needs more experience with awkward, ugly fighting guys. Like look at the Salido fight when he's getting hit in the bollocks all night. He needs to. He's dealt with amateurs, and amateurs are all fucking in, out, left, right. Very technical, easy to read people. And you look at professional fights; they're all very hard to read fighters. And I think he needs more time in that ring.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned that because Precise mentioned that I think it was on Saturday or Sunday after the fight, where he said that this was perhaps the best thing that could have happened to Lomachenko. He needed a fight where he had to go at 100%, and because one judge had it even, and the other were split. One had it for Linares, one had it for Lomachenko. So he had to press the metal to the metal because he was behind on one card and he got dropped and he didn't know. I mean, you can be the most confident fighter in the world, but if you feel that the guy is matching you punch for punch or speed for speed, there's a bit of doubt in your head that, oh fuck, I might not be doing enough. And he earned himself that win with that body shot. But you're right. I mean, like you said, and like Precise said, he needs this type of fights because if he fights Mikey Garcia, I agree with Ray. I mean, Mikey's not as fast as Linares, but he does appear to be more durable. He is a bigger guy. Some people disagree with that with me about that, about the size, because they say Linares is just as big. But you look at Garcia, he's thicker. He's got thicker legs, stronger. Definitely, but I think he's a better puncher with both hands. And he's also, I think, better defensively than Linares, despite the fact that he got tagged a little bit against Broner in the last couple of rounds and against Lipinets. But I don't think we saw the best Garcia against Lipinets. I don't know. You guys tell me. I mean, what happened in the Lipinets fight? Was that an aberration or?
I didn't see that fight.
Oh, you didn't see Mikey? Well, check it out, man, because it's a pretty good fight. I mean, Mikey Garcia definitely got put. Ray, what about you? What do you think? Like, what happened in the Lipinets fight?
I just think at 140, Mikey's a lot more cautious. Like maybe he doesn't have as much confidence in his power. I don't know, but like he fought Broner like really, really cautiously.
Right.
Not as much as Lipinets, but I mean, I felt that he was just overly cautious. I think maybe he was just concerned about the weight too much.
He definitely looked flabby. I mean, like you said, he's never been the most ripped guy out there, but he looked particularly flabby against Lipinets, which makes me wonder whether he trained or whether maybe it was his body telling him, listen, boy, you shouldn't be at this weight. By the way, I see we got recognized on the line.
Reverse lead.
Whoops. No, that's not the fucking... Mamon 1000, what are you doing? Sorry, it's a new supercomputer. It's not acting properly.
Don't get fooled when they tell you that the crime rate is down in New York.
Right.
Every time I watch the local news, they're always talking about, well, there was a stabbing here, there was a stabbing there, there was a shooting there, but the crime is down.
One thing I will add, though, is you talk about Lomachenko being down on the cards. Well, with the 10th round, the knockdown, he would have been up on all 3 cards at the end
That's
of the 10th.
true. That's true. Recognize, are you there?
Which means Jorge would have
Yes,
had
I
to
am.
score a knockdown in order to at least get a draw.
All right, hold on a second. Just want to introduce Recognize. Recognize, thank you for being on the show. Always glad to have you on board.
Thanks for having me.
Good. And by the way, guys, I want to remind you, please mute your mics if you're going to be silent for long stretches of time, because we are now broadcasting on Spreaker. So that means there's people listening to this and on their on their iPhones and on their MP3 players, and we don't want them to be hearing a bunch of crackling and popcorn and zippers and porn in the background. All right, please. Yeah, that makes our job, everybody's job, a whole lot easier here. So, sorry. Who was was it Ray or Greg? Who was saying something before I cut in?
No, I was right. I was just saying that Lomachenko would have. Linares wouldn't have been able to win on points after the 10th round, even if he would have got up.
Right, that's true. But yeah, going back to the whole thing about Mikey Garcia, I think it's the best fight to make. You guys tell me, is there a better fight right now at 135 or 140?
That's a great fight to make, in my opinion.
Right, like which other fight is there at that weight? It's the best fight to make.
It's going to be hard to make. I kind of figured that politics are going to get in the way of making that fight. But I would definitely like to see it. I would favor Lomachenko, but I think Mikey Garcia, a pretty well-schooled fighter, has a good shot of beating him.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's a great fight, but it's just going to be. I know it's going to be a hard fight to make because of the politics involved.
Right. And by the way, people in the chat room are again, they're calling Jamie Munguia Goro from Mortal Kombat. That's what people were saying on Sunday, that the guy looks like fucking Goro from Mortal Kombat. But I mean, listen, Mikey Garcia.
Big.
Was that?
He's a big man.
He's a big dude.
154.
He's a big dude for a Mexican, and for being 21, he's a tough.
I told you when I saw him standing next to. I'm sorry, BDA, but I saw him standing next to Saddam Ali, who's listed at 5'9". If he's 5'9", Munguia's got to be 6 feet, 6'1", maybe.
Mm-hmm. He looks about 6. Yeah, BoxRec has him listed as 6 feet tall, but like you said,
6 feet. Yeah, 6 feet. Yeah, that's.
But it wouldn't surprise
right.
me. Wouldn't surprise me if it's 6'1" or something.
Right,
that's just my opinion.
He towered over Saddam Ali, who's listed at 5'9".
Mm-hmm.
Again, I think BoxRec over exaggerates or gets it wrong. I don't know what they do with the heights, because sometimes they'll say a guy's 6 something, 6'3", 6'4", and you look at him and they're like, nah, that guy's 6'1".
Right. Yeah, I still maintain. I mean, Tyson Fury, they say he's 6'9". We had this conversation a couple of episodes back. I don't think he's 6'9". I think he's 6'7.5" or 6'8". I mean, he does look tall.
Tyson Fury, yeah.
Yeah.
You know something? Maybe you got a point there, because when he was fighting Klitschko, who's listed at, I believe, 6'7", right?
Right.
He looked about
6'9".
No, he's talking about Vladimir Klitschko.
Right, Vladimir.
Oh yeah.
Vladimir's 6. I think he's 6'7" or 6'6", one of the two.
He's listed as 6'7", yeah.
Right. So when they were next to each other, it looked like maybe Fury had him by maybe 6'9". I don't know. He looked like he had him by an inch in height.
Yeah, that's true.
You can never tell, but sometimes a guy doesn't stand his height. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like hunches over when he's standing.
By the way, sorry to interrupt. We got Cameron on the line.
Fuck, mate, it's life, man. You only live once. Make the most of life. Enjoy it. Because everybody's got their weird fetishes, man. And mine just happens to be eating fucking ass.
That's right. We got Cameron. Cameron, are you there?
What's going on, fellas? How you doing?
Good to have you on board. Now, before we continue talking about boxing, I just wanted to play off of, because we're talking about height and how I personally don't believe that Tyson Fury is really 6'9". I talked about this on Sunday, just to bring it up because I'm fascinated by this fucking guy. This is the tallest man. If you look at your screen, this is the tallest man that ever lived. For anybody that didn't watch on Sunday, do you know how tall he was? Anybody want to guess?
Let me have a look at the picture, man. I'll have a guess. I'm guessing about 8'3".
Close, but no cigar,
over
man.
8, like over 8 feet.
Definitely over 8. Yeah, definitely over 8.
8'5".
Yeah.
8'5".
You know what? You're gonna be surprised. 8'11".
Shit, yeah.
Yeah.
8'11".
He's almost 9. That's crazy.
He wouldn't be able to fit through my front door. I know that.
Yeah, I mean, that guy, he wouldn't fit in my apartment, that's for sure. I mean, listen, think about it. Yeah, you got like a guy like Shaquille O'Neal, right? He's 7 feet tall, right? This guy's got fucking 10 inches, 20 inches on the guy, right?
I mean, I reckon my bedroom wall. I mean, that's got to be about that height. I'd say about 9 foot, maybe. So that's madness.
That is insanity. Now, here's the $6 million question. He died in his 40s because, tall people like that, extremely tall people, they have joints damage or problems with posture. And all that. He died young. They tend to die young. But would you rather live 80 years old, 90 years old with your current height, bunch of midgets, or would you rather live an explosive 40, but at least you're living as a giant 40-year-old? What do you guys think?
I would have
For me,
that too. That's just
for me, wouldn't even give it a second thought. No fucking way.
Oh, Jimmy's on
like-
Gangly and goofy and shit.
Right.
I mean, you fall down, dude. You can fucking, it's like falling from a second-story window.
Yeah.
Oh, nah, you know what I mean? That's just, fuck that. Then it's awkward. I mean, everywhere you go, it's the first thing that's brought up. It's just, I'm all set.
I mean, I'm
Tall
5
people, tall people like that don't live as long because the farther your heart has to pump, blood, life into the extremities, the harder it has to work. That's why they usually tend very, very. I mean, how many guys you've seen in their 80s over fucking 6'5"? Right. Very seldom.
That's true.
It's because it's just it's hard on the human body. That's why little guys, you see the little old timers. How old are you? 103. You're like, nice. The tiny little dudes because they just can live long. It's just less stress on the body.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm 5. I mean, I'm only 5'11". I think I actually like my height. I mean, it's kind of average for my.
You're above average height. Average height in the United States, I believe, males is 5'10". I think I read. So you're above average height.
Nah, he's a midget. He's a midget compared to this guy. Did you see the guy I posted, by the way, Jimmy?
No, I can't. All I get is like a beige colored screen, and I see your pictures on the bottom. Or when other people talk, sometimes it pops up.
Right. Well,
now think about that. 8 feet 11 inches, right? He's almost basically 9 feet tall, right?
Right.
I'm 6'2". I look like I'm like an ant compared to him.
Exactly.
The thing is, another thing, like if you're 8'11", it doesn't matter how much you weigh. You could weigh 300 pounds. You're gonna look slim.
That's true.
That's the thing, yeah.
That is true.
Just shoes. Imagine. I mean, the dude must have a size fucking 18 shoe. Everything has to be cut. Everything has to be custom made and shit.
I mean, I'm size 12 shoe, and I'm only 5'11", so I look like I'm going diving. You know what I mean? But I couldn't imagine having a custom made shoe, man.
No, he has to have custom made shoe. There's no way. He's got to be like in the 20s.
Oh yeah, I mean, everything. I mean, what a fucking, even T-shirts would go to his fucking navel like little Daisy Duke shirts on him and shit.
He'd have to wear his missus's dresses for T-shirts.
Exactly. Yeah, it just would be a pain,
Now, I don't want to get
up on Tinder though.
That's what I wanted to say.
Every weekend.
Do you think a guy like that, not to get too out of the boxing talk, but do you think a guy like as big as he is, you think he's big all over, or
What, swinging a bat?
Right, yeah.
I don't know. Depends,
It is, man.
right? The fuck? I would hope so for his sake. I mean, if the dude's swinging an Irish smoker, you know what I mean? And he's fucking 9 feet tall, that'd suck.
Right.
It is, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you're 8'11" and you're with a woman who's maybe just under 6 foot or something, I mean, you're gonna have a real bad trouble trying to kiss that bitch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But here's the
Doing
thing.
anything wrong.
Isn't it all relative? Oh shit, people dropped that. Yeah, that's what happens when we've got too many people on the
All
show.
the tall people fell out.
Yeah, all the tall people. But that's the thing. Isn't it all relative? Yeah. By the way, guys, just to remind you that when there's this many people on the Hangout, for some reason, the people drop out automatically. I don't know why. I'm not doing it on purpose. Definitely not. It's not me doing it or Bucho. So we'll just remember that's gonna. If it happens, just jump back in like you guys did, and we'll be fine. But getting back to the tall guy, if you are 8'11", and let's say you're packing 12, right? 12 inches. It's all relative. Like, it's not gonna look big on you. So shouldn't you be, if you're 8'11", shouldn't you be wanting to pack, I don't know, 20 inches or something in order to look impressive?
I don't think it would matter what he's working with, because it's just gonna be, unless he's dating a woman that's fucking 7 feet tall. I mean, it's not gonna work out for him. I mean, 8'11". How does that even work for a guy like that?
I mean, what kind of bed does he have? I mean, how the hell can you lay in bed? And I mean, what? Does he have 2 beds put together so you could actually get in, or is his legs hanging out and touching the floor on the way back?
I have a 2-door Lexus. The motherfucker would have to drive from the back seat. Right? You'd have to take the front seat out.
Right, that's true, man.
You'd have to put a crate of fucking right in front of the back seat to drive it. Or it would be driving with his knees up and next to his ears like a fucking grown man in a goat cart.
I mean,
Just
if he
everything.
doesn't, I couldn't imagine seeing him riding a push bike down the road either.
Just everything's awkward, That's just, I mean, that's a handicap. I would imagine, unless you can, if you're that kind of tall, anything over 6'8" and you're not in the NBA, that's kind of almost a waste.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
My
the thing.
book,
Hey, speaking of waste, we got Floyd Mayweather and Gervonta Davis. I don't know, they have this hot and cold relationship going, but Mayweather just, I don't know who on behalf of or who did it on his behalf rather, but there was a press release, I think it was a press release, where Mayweather still believes, he says, that Gervonta Davis could beat Lomachenko. And then he said this quote, he says, "The shot that Lomachenko got hit with wasn't even a hard shot. And I'll tell you this, I truly believe that Gervonta is it's a much bigger puncher than Linares. If Gervonta would have dropped Lomachenko, he would have finished him. He's a finisher. When he gets you hurt, it's not like a money Mayweather shot."
All right, well, can I address that first off? At no time was Loma hurt by that shot. That wasn't a fucking, I've done that sparring a bunch of times. Get your feet crossed up. He just got over cocky. He had all his weight wrong, and he just got caught. It was just he was clear-eyed. He was, sure, anytime it puts you to the ground, but any punch to the head's going to hurt. But he's not going to approach it the same way. We're talking about one of the most cerebral fighters I've ever seen. He's going to approach it every fighter different. He knows his dynamite in that little kid Davis's hands. Mm-hmm. But he's also, I think, a couple inches taller than Davis, and he'd approach it different. I don't want to see that fight right now. I think personally, I like Davis. I think he's an exciting fighter. I think he needs to get away from Floyd. If he was with Top Rank, things would be a lot different. But he needs a couple of more fights. Mm-hmm. He needs the bright lights. He needs to headline some big shit and just get his shit together. Right now, his head's not in the game. And Floyd is just stoking the fire with that. He's just basically, by him saying that, he's letting everybody know, oh, Floyd wants him to fight. So you know what? Davis is probably like, you fucking prick. You're doing it again. You're throwing it all on me again. Exactly. He shouldn't be doing that. If he really cared about this kid's career, he'd be fucking leaning him towards, get him another legitimate belt, have him fight so far he's gone through walkthrough opponents. He hasn't been really tested. He hasn't been in the breach at all. I'd want to see him with some live bullets, you know what I mean, and come back. Although, no, that's not true. He was kind of dazed up a little, Garrett Benitez, right? I think Benitez caught him a couple, but a couple more like that. Just get seasoned. You don't go in against Lomachenko unless every facet of your game is fucking dialed in. And right now, that kid's head's so far up his ass, he's looking out his navel. So.
What do you?
That kid don't have a shot.
Not well. Right now, you mean, right?
Right now. He's I know what Lomachenko's gonna do if he fights him. I have an idea what he's gonna do. And if I could think it, I'm sure they're thinking the same thing too.
Right.
I would somewhat like Davis, because he's so aggressive, you could use his aggression against him. You could work him into things, and I'm sure that's what you were thinking, right? You could set him up so exactly. Give him
some
things.
traps. Let him. I'll stay right by hit the middle of his stance, thinking that I'm going to stay there. Circle to his lead foot, and just shot him all.
Yep. First couple of rounds.
Make him fall off balance, and just keep fucking him up. That's it. That's what.
Exactly.
That's what Loma. If look, nobody knows what's going to happen, but the style matchup. I try to look at the styles matchup. That's what I always try to look at. The intangibles, that just kind of happens in the ring. That you got to just see how it plays out. If I'm a southpaw, which I like fighting in the southpaw stance, and especially if I had that kind of speed and all those different angles that Lomachenko could do, the athletic, the ability that he has, I think he'll make easy work right now. I haven't seen Tank put it all together. He's kind of predictable, at least with these fights, and he's been able to get away with it because he hasn't really fought anybody that could counterpunch him, give him different looks, and take advantage of some of the flaws he has. And he's wide open when he's shooting off his shots, man. He's pretty wide open.
Well, let me.
I just wanted to apologize. I thought I had you on mute, dude, when I kept saying, yeah, exactly. I thought I had it on mute. That's why I didn't mean to keep talking. I looked down, I'm like, oh, shit. Sorry about that. I just wanted to apologize. I wasn't meaning to do that on you. But.
Don't worry about it. But I just want to say something based on what Recognize said, which is, I agree. I mean, Gervonta Davis has a lot of potential, but you need to be creative in order to throw Lomachenko off rhythm. Linares, you saw him on Saturday. He was doing little things that caught Lomachenko off guard. With Tank Davis, and I've said this before, this is a guy who is getting in trouble back in his hometown of Baltimore, right? He's having trouble with his own promoter. He has a hot and cold relationship with him. He's getting in trouble outside of the ring with Charlo. He's making out with Adrian Broner in articles. Okay, well, he's not making out really, but I mean, they were about to kiss. Oh shit, sorry. And so what I'm trying to get at is, Lomachenko is a guy that's been making people quit, and he just stopped the best lightweight in the world. They don't call him Nomaschenko for nothing. So do you guys think, Tank Davis, with his immaturity right now, early 20s, do you really think he's ready for a guy like Lomachenko?
No.
They'll rob him. If he goes in against Tank, they will rob him.
Really? You think he's got that type of pull, Mayweather and the PBC?
Have you not seen the interview when he's talking about Tank Davis is like his little child, his second coming?
Yeah, but the thing is, man, that relationship's kind of it seems to be breaking down. Somebody put a tweet out earlier on saying when's Gervonta's promotional contract up with Mayweather, and Gervonta Davis said Gervonta Davis said but it just sounds like Gervonta Davis is looking to get out of the contract, Mayweather. In my opinion, Mayweather. I mean, you heard Aaron. He said that Mayweather, called up Top Rank, and he basically wanted Davis in with Lomachenko because he wanted him to pay for basically badmouthing him. So, for me, there's not. I mean, on the other hand, there's no way they're going to rob Lomachenko because I don't see Gervonta Davis getting close enough in a fight to be able to get the decision over Lomachenko.
It wouldn't go the distance. Lomachenko would stop him. He would just stop him to barrage. He'd quit. And even if he had to look like he was hurt, he would. Because it would be, at this point, it would be so one-sided that it would be impossible to fuck him. But honestly, let me address that like with Floyd's pull. That pull relies in Vegas, correct? Of course. But Vegas is the ultimate whore city. They don't do shit for anybody. They don't care. It's not what have you done for me lately. You know what I mean? It's what are you going to do for me now? Floyd drew in the whales. He drew in hundreds of millions of dollars. His shit's all taken down now. There's no more. He used to walk in the MGM where he fought. It was just everything was Mayweather all over the place. That shit's all down now. His career's over. within the next 18 months, you'll see him rolling around like a fucking couple of pigeons fighting for a French fry, flipping in a MMA cage. You know what I mean? So fucking, he's got no more pull. I mean, if you ever try to squeeze Bob, hey, listen, I need this guy to win, and what are you gonna do? It's all about the dollars out there. And if he ain't gonna bring in any dollars, and he's never gonna let a fighter get anywhere near him. He'll sabotage it himself. He's so insecure. I'm surprised he wasn't Instagramming and tweeting out ridiculous shit all weekend to take some of the fucking light off him. How long after the Loma fight did he tweet that shit out about Davis?
Well, that's the thing, because people in the chat are saying, come on, Lomachenko's 20, I mean, not Lomachenko, Gervonta's 23, 24, he's ready. But we've had this discussion before. Just because he's 24 and he used to have a title doesn't mean he's ready. His best two opponents so far are Pedraza and a featherweight in Cuellar. And Pedraza was tagging him. So what do you guys, what do people think Lomachenko's going to do? He's just going to lay down to Tank Davis's power? I mean, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, that's another thing too. Lomachenko can hit. Everybody thinks he's because we are so caught up in his footwork and everything else. He does dazzle, and that boy can punch. Make no mistake. You know what I mean? Look at everybody's face he fights. If he doesn't knock them out, he does their face up pretty nice. And that's with him not really ever planting his feet. Most of the time, he's still up on the top of his feet when he's hitting you. I mean, if he actually had somebody dazed enough where he could fucking corner him and plant his feet, you know what I mean? He can crack too. You know what I mean? So
you know what it is with Tank? Tank is a young. I'm sorry, Jimmy, but I just want to add this one thing. Tank Davis. So he has a lot of young boxing fans. These guys are young themselves. They don't realize that they say, oh, he's 23, 24 and he's ready, right? And fine, if they make the fight, I'm not gonna protest that they're having the fight. I'd love to see it. The thing is that he's still green enough, and he'll find out that fighting a man and that's 30, right? That's when you really start putting everything together mentally with the physical part. I know this because I'm in my 40s, and I know when I was in my 30s, I was better than I was in my early 20s. They just you take the experience, and you take your physical ability, you put it all together, right? He stands the way I see it, anything can happen in a boxing fight. I look at their style, I look at their experience. I love to see it if they make it happen. I'm guaranteeing you, if that's the next fight, if that's the very next fight, I'll guarantee you he stops him in 6 rounds.
Whoa.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, that's not that far.
If the fight don't go past 6 is what I mean.
Right.
I concur. I'm 100% on that bandwagon right there, bro.
Well, how about anybody else? Anybody else interested in seeing Gervonta against Lomachenko?
I don't want to see it because I don't see what the point is. He keeps going up a weight and he keeps proving himself, but yet bring him back down a weight to fight Tank. And I think Tank's still a young kid, man. He's got nothing to prove there.
I'm with.
Go ahead, Cameron.
I was just gonna say I'm with Greg. Completely with Greg on that one. I feel like Lomachenko's a lightweight now. I'm looking forward to seeing Lomachenko gets the win of Mikey Garcia, Robert Easter, and like you said, Gordon Davis. I'd like to see him fight someone like Miguel Burchell or Macedo or someone like that. I feel like at this point in time they don't need to fight. I mean, Gordon Davis. I'd like to see the fight. I'm not in agreement with people who say he's not ready. I think the fight could be bigger. I feel like Davis, where he's so young, he's only fought Pedraza and Cuellar. For me, if he can get a win over Burchell, he kind of unify the belts, establish himself as the best super featherweight in the world. Then maybe that's when Gervonta Davis may look to the Lomachenko fight, because you could have Lomachenko as a number 1 lightweight and Gervonta Davis as number 1 super featherweight, and you can kind of have the 2 fight.
Why don't we get Tank to move up to lightweight? Why has that not been asked?
I mean, there's no real. He's got a belt, innit? I mean, he made the weight. He looked good in his last fight, so yeah. I mean, I want to see him against Burchell. I want to see him against Burchell. I want to see him against Macedo. There's some good fights for Davis at 130. I don't want to see him in lightweight.
If he goes in there and he beats Burchell and he beats Mercado, I mean, now he's got a buzz. Now, even a person like me would say, wait a second now, maybe he has a good shot of beating Lomachenko, or it's going to get better. I think definitely for himself, mentally, it'll make him better. He goes in there, fights Mercado and fights Burchell. Let's say those guys give him a good scrap. They teach him something, but he still wins. This kid hasn't fought him anything. What's gonna happen when he fights a fighter that's not gonna lay down? You're asking for him to get his ass whipped, man. Look, fighting is it's about experience. If I take you and I put you to fight a bunch of cupcakes, right? And you just walk and you just eat all these cupcakes, and then I put you in there with a real fighter who has been in the ring with tough fighters and had some adversities, he's going to spank you. He's going to take you into deep waters.
That's right.
Okay, and then he's going to spank you. That's what's going to end up happening. He's going to show that I'm a man, you're a little boy. Okay, this is going to be your experience. That's going to teach you a lesson. And if you're a Tank fan, you want him to win, right? You don't want him to end up getting stopped and you know, embarrassed where it fucks up his career. I don't think Tank is ready. Good fight at this point.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off, bro. Keep going.
No, that was what I was gonna say. I was gonna say, Jimmy, that I don't even think he's experienced enough to give him a good fight.
Exactly. No, I concur with everything you just said 100%. The word that was always used from the time I can remember was seasoning. Kid don't got enough seasoning. You know what I mean?
That's right.
And he just doesn't have enough seasoning. He needs the experiences. Those are all learning experiences in fighting. It's such a mental game too, you know. And then it's just even the little things, like people don't put enough weight on walking my picture. Put yourself in their shoes, man. Just stepping into an auditorium with tens of thousands of people, you know, screaming, ready to watch you either get put in concussive state or the other guy.
Exactly.
So all those things are fucking weigh on you. And then his fame, a lot of people can't handle the fame. They can't handle just even a little bit of fame. It just gets to their head. I don't know. I know he had a tough life. I guess his mom is in recovery. God rest, you know, bless her. I hope fucking all the power to her. I hope she keeps her shit together. But if he was seeing bad things when he was young, at what point has he, you know what I mean? It's like, eesh, that's a lot to ask a kid who's been through a lot, and he's still only 23, which is great physically for prime, but he needs a couple more years. I mean, if they make it happen, I'm not going to not watch it, but I like him enough where I don't think he needs to be sacrificed right now. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
You've got to look at it like this. I mean, for me, Tank Davis could well be the best super featherweight in the world. I mean, you can't look at that division. You know, I'd fancy him against Burchell. I think Burchell will be a real tough fight for him. Very tough fight, actually. I think, you know, Mikado's there. I mean, for me, realistically, the Mikado fight should be the one they make next, you know, because, you know, Mikado's got the regular belt and Davis got a super belt, all these bogus titles, but it's the way it is. I thought the Mikado fight should be the one they make next, 2 undefeated guys. For me, Gervonta Davis should just stay at 130 and try and clean up that division. And, you know, if he does that, all the experience, all the seasoning that he needs to fight someone like Lomachenko will come. So for me, you know, they don't need to rush that fight. I mean, I'd like to see it now. If they made it, you know, I wouldn't mind it. But for me, it would be similar to the Floyd Mayweather Canelo Alvarez fight, where, you know, maybe Canelo Alvarez, you know, he wasn't ready for that fight, and, you know, he just got outclassed. You know, for my opinion, it could be something like that. So for me, give it another 2 or 3 years, because Loma's not in his prime. He's only in his late 20s. You know, Loma's got a while yet in the sport if he wants to. So you can make that fight whenever you want.
Yeah,
exactly.
I agree with that, man.
I'm with you on the Burchell too. That's the fight I really want to see him with. That's perfect for him, Burchell.
Mercado,
yeah, that'd be good too.
Mercado, I'm telling you right now, Mercado might be tough for him. You know what I'm saying? Mercado's a big puncher. He's a big puncher in that weight class. So, and a guy who's went through some adversity. You know what I'm saying? This is a guy who already, I believe, he got dropped against what's his name? That dude that I hate. I forgot his fucking name. Anyway.
Corrales. No, not Corrales.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Corrales. And he had some tough times with him.
Well, Corrales is a good fighter. You know, he's a decent, quick.
No, he definitely is. Definitely
right.
is. I personally don't like him, but I'm just saying, like, I'm not gonna say he's not a good fighter. He is a good fighter. But he went through some adversity. Got dropped. I believe he got dropped in that fight or got hurt, got back up, whatever, and knocked him out. So you need experience, man. You need when you're going up against the best fighters, don't go in there because of your potentials.
Mm-hmm,
Go in there because you know what the hell you're doing.
Exactly.
Because you know it from experience. That's why.
Right.
Very well said.
I can tell you from the time my earliest memory, right? My grandfather, God rest his soul, he was a trainer. He was actually Mickey's first trainer. And so from my earliest memories, I remembered that's all I could do, right? I always boxed. So one time I got my teens and the time I went to the Acre Boxing Club, and of course, they put you in the other novices. That was my class. You enter novices. And I was just eating through them. It was like, of course, it was parents saying, oh, that fucking kid's not a novice, blah, blah. But anyway, until I found out who my grandfather was. But so there I am, big ass head, right, chewing through novices. And then I went up against, I can't remember his name, kid from Billerica. Anyways, Joey Elliott. Oh, my God, this kid was an amateur champion 7 years. And I'll tell you right there, like you were just saying, bro, there I was chewing through, like you said, cupcakes, and then you get in a kid, and all these things that work so beautifully against these cupcakes, and just didn't fly, you know?
That's
so
right.
it's you're 100% right. You got to learn all those things. Those are just things learned.
Yeah, you got to be challenged. And by the way, before we continue, we got a new addition to the hangout. We got Boxing Junkie in the house. Boxing, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Pleasure, gentlemen.
Good to have you on board, man.
Boxing Junkie, what's up, man?
How you doing, man? How you been?
What's up, bro? Good, man.
Great to be on here with you.
Sure. By the way, I see you.
That's a nice cigarette.
Yeah, nice cigarette. That's what I was going to say. By the way, Boxing Junkie, all we ask is that if you're not going to be talking for long periods of time or whatever, just mute your mic, please, because we're trying to have as less background audio as possible.
Hey, right? Is that Boxing Junkie from Twitter 206, Boxing Junkie 206? Is that the same guy?
That's someone else.
Okay, all right, sorry.
I'm not on.
Thank you.
There's a few Boxing Junkies. One of my close friends is called Boxing Junkies on Twitter as well.
Well, aren't we all boxing?
Shaved head? Blonde-haired kid from Wales?
Nah,
yeah,
man.
Is that the kid you talk about? Yeah, I like him. I like him.
Yeah.
He puts out good stuff.
Shot that Linares landed, he'd be knocked out. He would have knocked him out.
You're talking about he would have knocked out Tank Davis, you're saying?
Yeah. Yeah, he would have knocked.
You mean Linares?
You think the shot that Linares landed on Lomachenko, he would have knocked him out.
That's interesting.
He would have knocked out Tank.
He would have knocked out Lomachenko. Tank would have knocked Lomachenko if he landed.
Oh,
the shot
okay.
Landed.
Okay, I got what.
Can I just ask, Jimmy, what's your Twitter, man? Because I've been listening to you on the show and I've enjoyed your opinions, man. So what's your Twitter? I'll follow you.
Oh, sorry, buddy. It's Jimmy D. Marino in Three-Piece Boxing.
Oh, I got you, bro.
And your first name's Cameron? You're on Twitter, too?
Yeah, Cameron Gillon, bro.
Oh, okay. That's no shit. I've seen you, too. Yeah, no. All right, excellent. Thank you, brother.
And he's got a YouTube channel, too. Cameron Gillon, also. I prefer to say Gillian. Too. He's gonna get mad at me because we call him Gillian on the show. We just think he has better pop, you know, Gillian as opposed to Gillon. I mean, come on, who calls himself Gillian?
I'm getting used to it now, man.
There you go. And by the way, I gotta call out Reverse. I mean, not Reverse, recognizing something because Reverse was on the chat and he made a good point. You were calling Alberto Machado. You're Puerto Rican. You should know it's Machado.
Yeah, it's Mercado.
Are you sure it's Machado?
I know 100% it's Mercado.
Really? That's interesting. I
know him.
But why isn't it Machado then? If it's CH?
Yeah, it's Mercado, isn't it?
Well, but in Spanish...
No, it's Machado.
Right. But then why do you keep calling him Machado?
I was?
Yeah, you were.
And Reverse, who's a non-Puerto Rican.
No, excuse me. Machado.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, why you...
Everyone calls him Machado.
Never mind.
Can you say it?
I think it's got to accept we keep butchering his name, but we know it is, so...
I recognize. Can you say it with the Puerto Rican accent?
Yeah.
Can you say it with the Puerto Rican... As Puerto Rican-y as you can?
Machado.
There you go. It sounds like you're singing, by the way. Machado.
Sound like Erislandi Lara.
Like
nah, it's not the same.
La machata.
All right. And Balsa God says, LOL, what the fuck? Puerto Ricans can't speak Spanish. Then what the hell are they speaking then? That makes no sense, that comment.
You don't speak Spanish?
Yeah, that's what he's saying. I don't know.
Hey man, as Puerto Rican-y as you can. That's the way you said that.
Yeah, that's
I
what
almost fell down the stairs when I heard you say that's the way you said it. As Puerto Rican-y as you can.
that's just what we do here at BDA Boxing.
That's
So-
awesome. It's good.
So
We all got
getting,
different. We all got different accents the way we speak Spanish.
exactly.
Right?
For some reason, I'm Mexican, but people tell me I sound like Vladimir Klitschko. So people
I
actually,
said that first time
Yeah,
I
he
ever came
does. He
on.
does.
First time I ever came on this show, I said that to you.
yeah, I think
The
you did.
only reason
know-
I followed the show is because I thought it was Vladimir Klitschko's secret fucking YouTube site.
Yeah, you thought you were gonna
I
get a
thought-
shot at Klitschko's wife.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were French. I thought you had you sound like you have French in your accent a little bit. When
I don't know what
first
the
heard you. That's how far off I was.
Yeah. I don't know what the fuck what type of accent I have. It's a mix of, because I live in Canada, but I'm Mexican, but I live in French in Quebec, so it's the French part. So it's all a bunch of
that
fucking
makes
accents. Yeah, but anyway, listen. Getting back to the Mayweather thing, Jimmy hit on a good point here. That Mayweather is he's always trying to get his name out there. Every time there's a big fight, he tries to put out his name there because he wants the attention. Is this just another Mayweather form of publicity? Because this was the quote that I read you. This is from a press release. So they actually let out a press release just to let people know that Mayweather feels that Tank Davis can beat Lomachenko. Now, I used to defend Tank Davis and saying, listen, I don't want to see Tank Davis against Lomachenko. So people stop saying, I was telling people to stop saying that he needed to be in there against Lomachenko. Well, a couple of weeks ago, actually, Davis himself said that he wants Lomachenko, that he's ready for him. So I can't defend him anymore because apparently Davis believes that he's ready for it. So I don't know.
Sign the contract. I like to see it happen. I mean, I know. Like I said, if that fight gets signed, the very next fight, I'm willing to take bets with anybody. Lomachenko stops that boy in 6 rounds.
All right, so you get.
Yeah, I think, you know what, man? This is the problem that's happened now. As soon as Tank Davis said he wants that fight, he's ready for that fight. People are going to claim he's ducking if he doesn't take that fight. You know, if he carried on saying, you know, if he stuck to his word. I think there's a bit of miscommunication going on. I think there's a bit of a rift between Davis and Mayweather, and you know, 1 minute saying one thing, the next minute saying another thing. I feel like they're trying to one up each other, and Davis has come out and said this. But for me, once you say you're ready for this fight, you got to take this fight. You know, but otherwise people are going to call you out for it. So for me, I'd be interested to see what he's doing next. But I mean, Lomachenko's a lightweight, you know what I mean? So there's kind of an excuse there for him not to fight him. But obviously, you know, it depends what Lomachenko does next. I mean, it's pretty obvious that Bob Arum has the plan for Lomachenko to fight Ray Beltran and unification next. I mean, let's be honest about that.
Right. What kind of can this fight actually be made because of the network problems and all that, or is this just fucking hype? Because I don't believe these fights can be made with Mayweather and Bob Arum, or Bob Arum and Al Heyman.
Well, Floyd called up Bob Arum's his stepson, who's the guy who'll be taking over Top Rank when Bob Arum's gone. He called him up to deal with that, to call him up and kind of talk about that fight. So Floyd wouldn't be directly working with Arum to make that fight happen. Bob Arum came out and said, yeah, that's the guy, bro. That's
Todd the Buff.
That's it, Todd the Buff. Floyd rang him up apparently to talk about the fight, and Bob Arum said that there'll be no problems making that fight because Floyd will be dealing with him.
Oh shit! All right.
Floyd could be trying to check to see where he's at. Floyd probably is losing patience and says it's probably looking at it like, fuck it. If he wins, he's a star. I got a star. If he loses, that's it. You know, we just cash him out. You know what I'm saying? There could be a chance where he's looking at it from that, and saying, let me find out now rather than later. You know. Can
I interject something too? Why, if I was Tank, I'd want to get the hell away from Mayweather. Who wants a guy who's begging Dana White to do MMA? The reason for that second check he just got went to pay for the taxes for the first fucking big check he got. You know what I mean? He owed over $30 million in back taxes. That gets compounded big time. So I don't know what his final penalties were, but the dude's not liquid. You know what I mean? He lives off those big checks and spends like a fucking mental case. He's always in, I'm just saying, I wouldn't trust his motives. All of a sudden, I'm sure his one of many fucking accountants he has calls him and says, "Hey Floyd, you got to calm down. You just bought another $70,000 watch yesterday." So who knows? You know what I mean? He knows he gets a slice. And the biggest money fight for obviously Davis right now would be against Lomachenko. So I don't know. It's not like he's an unscrupulous enough guy to sell him out just to get the fucking money. Especially now, I don't know if this is true. I don't know if this has any legs, but I heard he's fucking tapping his daughter. So that could fucking happen.
I heard something like that too. I mean, I don't really believe that, but let's say he is, right? Let's say he's tapping his daughter, which shows you father, right? I mean, how do you not have control of that? I don't know how old she is. I mean, I'm thinking she's a teenager. I don't know. Okay, let me maybe one day that could come back to bite me. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I have a daughter too, so you never know.
Right.
But what I'm saying is this: look, let's say that's true. Let's say he's tapping his daughter for whatever reason. You know what? I don't like this kid. So because I don't like him, I'm gonna take risk with him that I'm not willing to do with certain of my fighters. Right? It's all about making sure that your fighter is seasoned, well equipped enough to win the fight, right? That's what you want to do. I can't see for the life of me. I'm sorry. I don't mean to disrespect any Tank Davis fan, but I'm going to. He's not ready. Remember I said this. He will lose in 6 rounds. He will definitely, if this fight happens next and it's at 135 and there's no fuckery. It's just go in there, see what you got. He's going to get thoroughly outboxed and he's going to get dominated. And I think he doesn't even get out of the 6th round. But that could be. I'm sorry, Cameron.
I'm sorry.
That could be the reason. That could be the reason why Floyd is willing to take risk on him. That could be one of the reasons. Or it's just like maybe he's just changing his tactics. Maybe he sees this as a big money fight and says, "Fuck it." If he wins, I got a star. Right? Tank beats. Forget about what I'm saying or anybody else is saying. Tank beats Lomachenko and he kicks his ass. He's a star. If he loses, you cash out. That's it. That's the way. Maybe that's the way he's looking at it.
Sorry, Reckon. I didn't mean to interrupt you there, bro. I kept cutting out, so I didn't know if you were finished or not.
No problem. Go ahead.
I just want to say, this chat never seems to amazes me, BDA. That's not. I'm going to quote this. This isn't me saying these words. It's not me putting it out there. But according to Nice Kitty, he puts Floyd Mayweather is doing his own daughter. You heard it here first.
No, wait. I just want to clarify because I didn't understand what you guys were talking about. There's a rumor that Tank Davis is banging Mayweather's daughter, right?
Yeah, it's I know which one he's on about. I mean, it's the older one, I believe.
17 years old. Eileen, she's pretty as hell.
Yeah, but the thing is, man,
she's a pretty girl.
I mean, it's not legal. It's not legal if that's the case. Sorry, bro,
listen,
I didn't cut you off.
I would cut you off. I apologize.
We got an exclusive here at BDA Boxing because we have contacts everywhere. We're the TMZ of boxing, and we actually have a conversation between Mayweather and Gervonta Davis. This is Floyd Mayweather talking about his daughter to Gervonta Davis.
You can come on, fuck her in the mouth, fuck her in the ass, come on her face, man.
Oh my God! I mean, if you talk about your daughter that way, I mean that is just absolutely.
Is that not a conversation between Gervonta Davis and Adrian Broner?
No, no, that's another situation for another episode. But yeah, I mean, Recognize has a point, man. I mean, Jimmy, sorry, yeah, that if Mayweather's having money problems, which you have to assume he is, because if he's spending like he's still earning or like he's still an active boxer, then he's gonna have money problems. Why wouldn't he have any qualms about throwing Davis in there to the wolves just to get another car payment or another mortgage payment? You know what I mean? Yeah, Davis should find himself a real promoter, somebody that can rein him in, get him away from Baltimore, and really set him straight.
Well, yeah, think about it. Mayweather, absolutely gone. Mayweather's
get out of Baltimore. Baltimore's a scary city. It just is. It's
very dangerous. Very dangerous.
Come on, y'all. Not that bad. Need to come to Baltimore. Nah, I'm just fucking with you. I'm here. Y'all don't need to come, all right? It is everything is cracked up to be.
Boxing Junkie, you from out there, no?
Yeah.
You from?
Yeah. It's bad.
New York. I'm from New York. Okay, let me tell you some real quick story about Baltimore. Real quick. I'm from New York, and this was when I went to Baltimore. This was in the '90s when the fucking murder rate was through the roof in New York still, right? I was in Baltimore, and I told my we should get out of here, and he was like, "Why?" I said, "This place looks like it's bad for our health. Seriously, let's go back to New York where it's safe." And like I thought about me saying that at that time, like, wow, did I actually say let's go back to New York where it's safe?
Jeez.
And that's how bad the vibe was there. I was like, yo, this is like it looks like we're gonna get shot any second.
But I've been to Baltimore, and everything he just said is 100% true. I'll tell you, for what, it's on the East Coast, I always say it's probably the fucking some tough. It's just but it's also a nice area too. I used to go to a lot of Oriole games. It was nice people, you know. I don't want to just say it's all like that, but there is parts of Baltimore you don't go in acting like a hard guy because you're not coming back out, you know.
Well,
if you know how to act, you can maneuver around a lot of spots. You know, there's a lot of nice spots, especially outside the city, like right on the city-county line. There's some decent spots. But I still would never spend money to visit a place like this, you know?
That's interesting. I mean, you know, the only thing I know about Baltimore is that it's one of the most dangerous parts of the United States. But, you know, alluding to what Recognized said about New York compared to Baltimore, New York has some pretty bad motherfuckers, right? Like, didn't Brother Muzoon go over to Baltimore? And, you know, he's a pretty bad, and people feared him over there. So that means New York still produces bad motherfuckers.
Look, I'm not saying what I'm saying was first of all, when I went to Baltimore, I did notice that there was like people. I was there visiting a friend from New York, right? We went to the Orioles game. We went to get some seafood, some little famous seafood spot over there, and we were just like walking around the club area, right? And as we're walking around the club area, I'm getting sized up, and mind you, most of the time when I'm around people, I'm one of the biggest guys out there. I'm, you know, 6'2" is not the biggest, but it's above average height. I got these dudes sizing me up, like they're looking at me like I want. First of all, I went out there. I was younger. I had a little gold chain on, you know, shit like that, and I had a nice hat on, you know, the whole thing. And they're looking at me like. They're looking at me and my friend like these guys got some money.
Let me ask. I'm sorry, but let me ask you something.
Let's jack these boys.
Here's what's funny. I used to rock the big gold chain. All right, I'm not talking little. I'm talking big as shit. All right, and the tuck this would be, if you tuck it, it's going down. You know, like if you're with someone and you tuck the chain, you're gonna be challenged for your chain. I just had the 45 on me, so what can I say?
Yeah, you see, that's what I needed, but I didn't have it at that moment. And I was like, you know, because everybody's like, yo, don't go out there, don't go to the South, don't go to Baltimore rocking, you know, a gun, because if you get locked up over there, you're gonna get locked up for a long time. Right. So all that stuff was in my head, but when I was there, I was like, man.
Well, hold on, Recognize.
My nice Glock would have done.
But Recognize,
well right now.
You're saying they were sizing you up and you thought you were in danger. Maybe they just wanted to fuck, not to fight. Maybe you were. See,
no,
we got a lot of trannies too, man. You never know.
But hey, Precise, I was gonna say though, you wouldn't have noticed them sizing you up if you weren't sizing them up, bro.
Hey, that's a good point.
True. No, listen,
that's a good point.
My instinct was to look back at them because
exactly
I was used to that. I'm used to that, you know. At that
Survival.
time, I was used to that in New York, especially. You know, when you're in a different area, they know that you're not from there. Listen, there's places in New York where I was at where I didn't feel safe. I was like, yo, let's get the fuck out of here. You know, anything could happen at any moment, and I'm not from there.
Well, like Fort Apache down there in the Bronx.
Yeah. That's one. That's just one place for instance, right? Like you don't want to be caught around there at any time. You know, especially if you're a foreigner. Let's just leave it at that. You're not from there. But yeah, I was just Baltimore again. Going back to Tank Davis, and this is in the '90s. I heard it's worse now. Okay, I don't know how true it is. I'm not from Baltimore, but from everything that I hear, maybe for a guy like him, if I could sense that environment, me being, and I was 6'2" back then, and me being a big dude and having people looking at me and looking like, damn, we're just waiting for the right moment to rob them,
Well, think about it. HBO, with the budget they had, and they wanted to make that TV series, The Wire, they could have picked anywhere, right? And they went to Baltimore. That's where that took place. You know what I mean? So back in, was it the late 90s, early 2000s? Yeah, it was.
Oh, look, remember the Bronx Tale? Tale?
Yep.
Okay, so the Bronx Tale, this is funny. The Bronx Tale was filmed. It was supposed to be, obviously, about the Bronx, right? About Little Italy in the Bronx. That part is so bad now, especially back then when they filmed that movie, that you know where they filmed that movie?
Where?
They filmed it in Long Island City, where I grew up at. Okay, where it's bad too.
The fuck?
It was bad at that time, but they said, "Fuck it, we'll film it in Long Island City instead of over there." You know what I'm saying? Because that part of the Bronx was really bad. That part of the Bronx.
No, Long Island City isn't it? Yeah, that's parts of Long Island City are pretty rough too.
Oh yeah, I know.
I'm familiar with it.
Part of Baltimore, though, if you ever come through, you're good in my section. All right, I can't guarantee you safety in other sections, but you're good in my section. All right.
You make it sound like it's the Warriors or something. Like, oh yeah, you come to my section, there's my gang, and you're safe.
You're good on my side.
I told Boxing Junkie if I ever go to Baltimore, I'm checking him first. I'm saying I'm checking it.
Right. Y'all good. Y'all are good. I can't guarantee you safety on the west side, though. Or mine. Shit.
It's always good to have people in other cities, man.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it's interesting, man. I mean, that's fucking. I think Bucho had asked a good question in another episode. Which part was worse, Chicago or Baltimore?
Oh, Chicago. I mean, I don't know. I can't say, but
I'm gonna say Chicago because
Chicago's murder rate's off the roof now.
They are racking up some homicides over there.
So should they be proud of that?
Toughest gun laws too.
Keep that title, yeah. It's like,
they got the toughest gun laws. Illinois got the state of Illinois got the toughest gun laws, and still all those murders are happening in Chicago.
Jeez.
It's always the case. I mean, look at the two states with the harshest sentencing guidelines for narcotics, Michigan and Texas. I mean, you can get actually life without the possibility of parole if you get caught selling over 2 kilos of heroin now in Michigan.
Well,
life without the possibility. And now, and they still, what's the 2 worst fucking states with drug abuse? Texas and fucking Michigan. Huh. So, you know what I mean? They put you to death in Texas. I mean, shit, they're popping people off left and right. But every time you put on TV on one of those fucking Datelines or something, some bizarre murder shit's always, Florida, Texas, or Michigan. But yeah, so it's weird how that works. The laws, when they're the toughest, it seems to, I don't know. I think you can't incarcerate your way out of any problem anyways. That's my opinion, but.
Mm-hmm.
Tank needs to get out of the bat. I mean, if he's going to stay in Maryland, if he's going to stay in Baltimore, move to a nice area where he can only focus on boxing, not worrying about street politics that could one day kill him. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it could. There's boxers that have gotten killed. I mean, we talked about this before.
We did have a local rapper that was killed right here in Baltimore last year. That just signed with like Bad Boy, I believe, or like a big record label, and he got killed right in his hometown.
Jeez.
So, and if you get killed, it's gonna be in your hometown.
Oh yeah.
Well, I can promise you this. I can promise you this. If you came to where I live, I guarantee you, none of my neighbors will yell at you for speeding. Don't need no passes. I live in the most fucking, oh my God, country compared to what you guys are talking about now.
I tell you what, we don't have it easy.
Bad section of Lowell, but no longer.
I tell you what, man.
Now there's like 0 crime rate.
Yeah, that's
a nice thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the greatest.
And a nice thing to fucking don't worry about your car being unlocked, having that panic attack in the middle of the night. Oh, my fucking car's unlocked. Running down the block, fucking thinking you left your car unlocked.
I tell you what, man. You guys think you have it hard. Let me tell you what we got to deal with here in Canada. Every time I go out to get the paper, there's these kids with water guns, and they spray me with their water guns, and I tell their parents, listen, your fucking snot-nosed kids are spraying me with water. Do something about it, and they don't do anything. So we all got it rough, man. Let me tell you, we all have it rough.
They're spraying your ass out there in Canada.
Exactly, they're spraying my fucking old ass. And by the way, I wanted to get back. Butch was telling me to get back to boxing, but I get it. No, I'm kidding. But it's interesting because we were talking about Berchelt before, right? And I got a question for you guys. How good is Berchelt? Because I asked the question a couple of weeks ago, Berchelt versus Lomachenko, and everybody said, oh, Lomachenko wipes the floor with him. But how good is Berchelt?
Okay, good. Berchelt, man, he ruined Vargas, didn't he? Or was Vargas already ruined?
No, you're right. He finished Vargas. Like I agree with what you're saying. He like finished him. Yeah.
Yeah.
But since then,
is no good no more. I can't see him competing at a level as high as he was after that.
He beat Rod Solker, bro. He beat Rod Solker.
Oh, that's a great win.
I think, but the last two times, I think, since that, I haven't been overly impressed with Berchelt. I thought last fight he played it way too safe. I don't know. Especially after that Vargas war, I thought he was like, meh.
Yeah.
The reason I asked that
but it's a good. Go ahead, BDA. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say the reason why I mentioned Berchelt is because he looked strong against Vargas. He definitely overpowered him. But then when he fought Miura, he was the one on the back foot. Now, I'm not saying he should have fought inside against Miura because that could have been suicide. But do you think he's strong enough to take on Tank Davis? Because Tank Davis is a pretty strong dude at 130.
Yeah, strong enough. I probably would go slightly Tank. I'll be honest with you, but that's a good fight.
Yeah.
Right? That's a good fight.
Excellent fight.
He's not in his P's and Q's. You know, he's not on his rhythm in that fight. He could get beat up too. So these are the fights that I want to like. Tank Davis versus Berchelt, Machado. These are build me up fights. This is where you find out where you at before you go in there against a super skilled fighter like Lomachenko. That's what's going to give you the experience and the confidence, right? To say, yeah, he beat these guys. I beat Machado. I beat Berchelt. So let's make this happen. Let's go. Okay, my resume is just as nice as yours. So when he starts realizing the fight's not going his way, he could have that in back of his mind, saying, "Man, I beat Machado and I beat Berchelt. What did I do to beat those guys?" And that's when that experience. If he goes in there saying, "Well, I beat Pedraza," you know what I'm saying? It's like, and then he starts having a hard time with Lomachenko. It's gonna fuck with his mind. The experience is gonna fuck with him. It's gonna be like, man, I'm having a hard time catching him and breaking his rhythm. You know what I'm saying? Without the experience, that's something that Lomachenko could take advantage of and take him into deep waters and, beat him.
Right.
And I'd much rather see Tank fight Berchelt than Lomachenko. Him and Berchelt could be a pretty good fight.
Excellent fight. I agree. I agree 100%. I think that'd be an excellent fight. And at the end, if Tank's dialed in, I'd be picking Tank by stoppage because I think the kid he has that much power in that hand. He just learns to control his aggression, and that's a hard thing when you got those kids who just they smell blood and they go at it. But that's when you mark my words too. That's when you're going to see him get clipped when he gets aggressive.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I want to see. I want to see when he gets clipped against a good fighter that's been there, and he gets when he's being aggressive, and they clip him with the same aggression that he's coming with. Right? It's easy to be aggressive towards men who are not being aggressive towards you. They're being passive. It's another thing when another man is being aggressive right back. It just goes. That should be easy to realize that a fighter doesn't have that experience, right? So he's getting hit by another man that's trying to knock him out or trying to hurt him, like he's trying to do. What happens? What happens to Tank when one of those punches buzzes him or knocks him down or buckles his knees? What's going to happen? Is he gonna be like, "Oh shit, this never happened to me," or is he gonna step up with experience, you know what I'm saying? Say, I've been here before.
Because when you haven't been there, you just react on gut instinct. And
Right.
his gut instinct won't be to take a knee, won't be able, to wait for the count. He'll jump right up, like, get me back in there right away. He won't take the time. He won't try to tie up. His aggression, his fucking street knowledge will take in, and he'll just go to swing. And somebody like Lomachenko would just eat him alive. You know what I mean? He wouldn't just eat. He needed to tie up and all the other things you learn. He's got to learn. He's got to go through all those things.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's right.
Well, it's interesting because you guys are picking, most of you guys are picking Tank Davis over Berchelt. Is that because based on that stylistic matchup that you see? Because most people, I think, would pick Berchelt based on the fact that he's fought better opposition.
To me, that's 50-50. I'm going to be honest with you. Slightest edge, the very slightest edge to Tank. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
I see it as a slight edge to Tank. But Berchelt, would anybody be surprised if he beats Tank? And if you are, why are you surprised? What has Tank done to show you that, or to surprise you so much that Berchelt won? So to me, it's very 50-50 fight. I would like to see him get into that kind of fight, a fight that I would favor him by the very slightest of the slightest edge to him, a fight that he could lose. Comes out of that, especially if he wins that fight, impressive, and he gains some experience where I think Berchelt is definitely going to give him problems for sure.
Well,
he's good enough for that.
I think you would have to stop Berchelt to win. I don't think you could beat him in a straight up 12-rounder. My opinion. I think if it was a straight boxing match and they both survived it, I think I would give the edge to Berchelt. But I just think he throws such nice, tight, compact shots, and when he hurts people, he hurts them. I mean, if you look at his knockouts, those aren't buzz dudes. I mean, he fucking smokes guys.
Mm-hmm, that's true.
He's got power, you know what I mean? Little Tank. That's why he's got that neck on him, Gillon neck. So when he cracks hard. So I think that Berchelt would be really like the way he fought the last guy on his back foot and but I just think Tank's a lot quicker than, Miura. Obviously, so that's why I call it.
You mentioned that neck. The logic dictates based on how that neck looks that he would probably have a good chin, but again, we can't go by judging just based on the neck. I mean, I want to see him in there against a guy who could crack, and Berchelt definitely can crack a 130. So that would be a competitive, a very 50-50 fight, because I'm looking at the 130-pound division here, the rankings. I'm going to put them up on the screen. And by the way, Jimmy, if you ever want to check out what's on the screen, you to see what's on the screen, you'd have to go to YouTube and watch the stream. I mean, you could put it on mute and watch. But anyway, what I'm saying is I'm looking at the 130-pound division. Johnny Gonzalez, he's a big puncher. I think Gervonta smokes him based on the speed difference. I think Davis is too quick for the guy. But then you have somebody like Corrales, who has good timing. Miguel Roman, I would favor Tank Davis over him. Devin Farmer, he's not a big puncher like Precise Puncher says. The guy's a slapper, but he's very good defensively. So that would be an interesting matchup. All right, what about Vargas? Do you think would you favor Davis against Vargas? Is Vargas done?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Gervonta Davis would beat him up, man.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
He's too young, mate. He's too fresh. Too hungry. Vargas has got a lot of wear and tear, a lot of scar tissue around those eyes. I don't think it'll take too much from Davis to really bust him up. And Vargas isn't going to quit, but in my opinion, the referee would have to jump in, or the corner would have to stop in, and then get Vargas out of there.
Yeah, I think so. I agree, man.
One fight I regret that they never made is Salido Vargas 2. And get Salido in there before he got fed to Berchelt and all that, They really should have let Salido get a break after that. Should have let Vargas get a break after that Salido fight.
Mm-hmm.
They just kept putting him in with tough opponents. Then Berchelt just killed his ass, basically. But,
I agree. Yeah, he should have.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that Salido fight. I wanted to see a rematch of Salido and Vargas.
Yeah,
those fights were great. Those were great fights, man.
They finished Salido. Oh, speaking of Salido, I was just reading on Boxing Scene. The guy allegedly he did get arrested for allegedly stealing 16 cans of beer. He and 3 other gentlemen. I'm not kidding.
I'm glad you brought that up. I forgot about that. Oh shit, Salido did get bagged for stealing beer. What the fuck, man? He ran out of his money already.
No. Can I tell you guys what happened with that?
Go ahead,
Okay.
please.
At the time, it was like one of those stores that sell beer, but only at a allotted time of the day. So it was like at 11 o'clock, you couldn't sell beer anymore. They wouldn't let him buy it. So he was trying to buy it. They wouldn't let him. So he just wanted the beer. You know, and they're going to say, I think I heard he even left 20, somebody said 20, but whatever the money was worth on the counter first before that's how I guess they caught him, because they saw the money and were like, what's this? That's what I heard. I don't know how much, but I know it was definitely because he couldn't buy it. I don't know about the money, and I don't know if that was somebody was telling me that in the DM, but he's usually pretty reliable.
Hey, Bucho, Salido is taking a page out of your book, stealing beer at 11 in the morning. I mean, come on, man. He's stealing your moves. And by the way, Salido also, apparently in the same article that I read over at Boxing Scene, they say he also got into a bar fight, I think on New Year's Eve or last December. So this just goes to show you, man, the way this guy fought in the ring is probably the way that fuse never really goes away for fighters. And you know, he's just recently retired, so you can see that I'm pretty sure the guy's still training or sparring. You know, I'm not entirely sure that he's fully out of boxing. He's still transitioning, and that's what happens with these guys, man. That those first 5 years after boxing, they can be pretty rough because they're still trying to acclimate to a life of non-boxing.
Well, listen, and when it comes to professional prize fighters, and if they were at any level, I don't give a fuck if it's 30 years later. I've seen Dickie Eklund fucking whacked out of his mind. 130 pounds soaking wet with quarters in his pocket. Bang dudes out in the street well over 200 pounds, like tough dudes who didn't even stand a chance. You know what I mean? Like bad. 20, 30 years later, fucking zapped out of his mind.
Right.
Just, you know, once somebody throw hands like that, it's second nature, becomes breathing to them. They just hit you fucking 4 times before you get tuck your chain in there, and then you're picking up your teeth.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man.
But Salido, I mean, these guys, most boxers, they're not going to prep schools to get these fighters. You know what I mean? They're not cruising Columbia University. It is what it is. You know, they're coming from usually the tough end of the lower end of economics and all the other factors that go into it. And even when they get their money, they don't all of a sudden they'll think about it. Like Floyd Mayweather, for instance. You're worth $100 million. What do you do with it, dude? Mm-hmm. Look at every vacation you go on. Every picture you post, you're by yourself. There's a reason for that. You think any country club is going to fucking welcome him in? Because people with money wouldn't piss down his throat if his guts were on fire. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So he's got no friends with money. So his whole life is just, okay, there you're sitting, you're counting your money. But after a while, what does it got you? So what they always do is they go back to where they came from. So now they're just a hood guy with a lot of money, and that's dangerous.
Absolutely.
That's why you need good representation. You need good people like Bob Arum. He's big on that. If he gets young guys, he sits down. I've heard a lot of good things about Bob. That's why a lot of his fighters stay on the straight and narrow.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned.
I'd love to see Davis go with Bob Arum. I know he's not going to be with Mayweather much longer, but
excellent choice.
Eddie Hearn, bro. Eddie Hearn.
Do you know what, man? It wouldn't surprise me if he goes with Eddie Hearn as well.
But it's hard because how is Hearn going to give that kind? This kid's going to need a lot of attention. You know what I'm saying? Because he always goes back to Baltimore. You see him always out there hitting the clubs. He's going to need somebody, unless Eddie puts that kind of money and has somebody really. He's going to need somebody almost living with him.
Yeah,
for a while, just get his head on.
One thing I give Mayweather was trying to get Tank to get out of Baltimore. He was trying to. He was telling him, like, yo, you got to leave out of there. You got to come over here.
Yes, he was. He was doing that. He was even doing it publicly. He was mentioning it publicly.
He even brought his Rolls Royce back here.
I think Bob Arum's actually the best choice for him. You know, I think Bob Arum, if you want to get built right, I mean, one of the days doesn't need building. He's already at that stage now where he's ready to be let off the leash. But, you know, for me, Bob Arum is, top rank's a good choice for Gervonta Davis. But, because there's a lot of good fights. They'll make the fights for him. they'll put the effort in, like Jimmy said. He needs to have that backing. Mayweather's not giving him that. Not what I think anyway. So I think Aram's the right choice.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, who knows? But Bob Arum is certainly more established in North America, so he would probably be the most logical choice. I want to get back to something that Jimmy said about Bob Arum sitting down with his fighters and trying to get them on the straight and narrow. How does it work when a fight? Because people shit on promoters all the time, especially on Bob Arum. Because there's, we have a guy, Corruption in Boxing. Shout out to Corruption. He came in here one day and he was talking about how he did the research and there were some discrepancies in regards to Pacquiao's finances, and he said that Bob Arum was shortchanging him. And you got guys like Mikey Garcia and De La Hoya who step out of the Bob Arum umbrella. In De La Hoya's case, I understand he wanted to start out his own thing. But when it comes to guys like Mikey Garcia, Floyd Mayweather, is this because they think Bob Arum is stealing money from them, or like what's going on there?
My answer to that, sorry to jump in so quickly, but my answer to that, well, we just got to look how many convictions against Bob Arum LLC has there been, federal or city, state, county convictions.
I got no clue.
Right, I don't think there's any. I don't think he's ever. If you have a contract and if somebody's breaking the contract, you can just bring it to a lawyer and they're gonna fucking win. You know what I mean? If there's a legal, a lot of things. What happens? Yes, promoters. What happen? They'll bury things in the contract, but they're there. These kids just don't have the right representation reading it. These contracts are fucking pages.
Look at who we're talking about. Like Floyd Mayweather would never be satisfied. The white Jew, supposedly. Floyd would always look at it from like this slave perspective that he's chained to this white man, and you know what I'm getting at.
Right. But it's interesting.
I'm sorry. Sorry, BDA.
Oh, go ahead.
I do think he might have been bagged for some type of corruption in the early 80s or late 70s.
Yeah.
Someone Google that, all right?
Yeah, I'm going to
Bob
Google it.
Arum was involved in something, but I'm not sure it was shortchanging fighters.
I definitely remember back in 2003 or 2004 that I think the FBI raided his office because there was some discrepancy about how he was doctoring medical records, I think, from Mexican fighters that he was bringing to feed to his prospects, I think.
Right. So, there's been some things going on with Top Rank. They're not just this.
Oh, I'm sorry. I believe 100%. Especially if he's like doctoring stuff to get opponents in for his guys.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm sure he's a ruthless son of a bitch and do whatever he has to. But I think and again, I'm not trying to be that guy who's going to say, but listen, I haven't met too many Jews who aren't good with money. That's just how it is. And they love it and they want more of it. And if they can fucking protect their investment, if he's going to do what he's going to have to do. In protecting your investment, you don't usually do bad things for them. You know what I mean? But it usually comes down to a lot of that stuff. It just buried in the contract. And when they finally get enough money to hire a team of lawyers to really dissect the contract, it gets brought up to them. You're paying $1,000 a month in towel fees, or you know what I'm saying? And then they get bullshit. Exactly. Oh, he's fucking robbing you here. He's robbing me there. I could have got you this for that. Then you got people in their ears talking shit, family members. It's just.
And by the way, let's just be fair. Anybody that's been around boxing, promoting since the time of Jesus, like Bob Arum and Don King, they're going to be investigated at some point by either the FBI, DEA, whatever, whatever organization is at IRS. So it's just part of the game. Right. I mean, like Jimmy said, these guys, they cut corners sometimes. Now, when it comes to shortchanging fighters, pretty sure that happens almost all the time. But I don't know. I guess as unfair as it seems, it's still part of the game. And most of these young fighters are still making way more money than they would ever see if they weren't boxing and if they were just in the streets, selling crack in the corner to a bunch of single mothers. You know what I mean? I mean, I know it's unfair, but that's just the way it is.
Part of the Illuminati.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you this, Al Heyman, how many more guys wouldn't be with Al Heyman right now if they would have just paid attention to their contract? I was told, I don't know how much truth this is, but Keith Thurman, the reason why he keeps coming up, oh, my injury isn't healed yet. Oh, I hurt my hand. From what I hear is if he hits a certain dollar amount in a certain time period, it automatically extends his contract with Eddie Al Heyman for another 2 years.
Huh.
And, with the PBC. And then that's the kind of, these contracts, they're like little novels, some of them. And also, I heard a lot of his fighters got homes that were purchased farm cars. They're all leased under LLC, Heyman LLC. So there's a lot of intricate moving parts. On top of that, they're not allowed, it's in their contract, every one of them, to be speak disparagingly about Heyman even after they leave. There's an actually silent out the door policy. He can still sue you even after you leave him and you talk shit.
The fuck?
Anybody puts that kind of shit in a contract, fucking somebody tells me, no matter what, if you can't badmouth me even when you leave, I'm like, what do you plan on doing to me, dude, that you're worrying about that? So, but there's a lot of shit buried in those Heyman contracts.
It's interesting you mentioned that because Keith Thurman, imagine that if his contract extended with Al Heyman for 2 years, that means he would be fighting once a year again. Maybe that's why he's, like you said, he's staying put, because we have a guy on the chat room as well who comes in often, and Akuma's Deception, and he said that a couple of episodes ago. He says that this is all part of Keith Thurman's plan to finally get away from Al Heyman. Maybe Thurman isn't happy with the scheduling, fighting once a year, so maybe that's why he's, like Jimmy said, he's staying put, flying under the radar, trying to get rid of that contract or run out that contract so he can sign with somebody more experienced.
I have a feeling that's what it is, man.
I mean, Thurman could be fighting more than once a year if he wasn't getting injured all the time. Let's be honest.
Absolutely,
man. You can read an Al Heyman contract, I believe, from Van Marderosian on Google.
Really?
Yes.
And what does it say?
I haven't took the time to read it, but I know it's on there.
Yeah, he's been vocal on. I think Vance has been vocal on Alan Heyman
leaving Al. Yeah. And
Al Heyman, excuse me, Alan Heyman.
Yeah, Alan Heyman. What are you in prep school?
I called him fucking his whole name. But
yeah, exactly.
He signs with Don King of all people after leaving Al Heyman. I mean,
right? That's really moving up, ain't it? The fuck.
I used to think that Al Heyman was like an agent.
Hey, but that old fool got him that fucking Gennady fight. You're right?
Yeah, can fight out too.
Not bad.
Good point, man. Shit.
It's interesting. We were talking about promoters and accountants and all that, but I heard that's one of the tricks that these promoters pull, which is they get a young fighter and then they go, listen, I'm going to set you up with my accountant. He's going to take care of you. Then the accountant is friends with the promoter, so they're all in bed. It's a conflict of interest because the accountant probably will not explain properly to his, or even the lawyer. They do the same thing. Like, I got a great lawyer for you. Maybe the lawyer or the accountant are working in tandem with the promoter to keep the
like Don King and his son-in-law.
Right. Exactly.
If you're familiar with that relationship.
Well, explain it.
Sorry.
So just Boxing Junkie, just really quick, explain it to people. What was that? What was the scheme there? The scam?
Okay, the scam was he would recommend you to his son. The son would be the manager, I believe is how it went down, which is breaking the Muhammad Ali Act. Correct me if I'm wrong, because you can't have a manager and a promoter as the same entity. So, he's really, it's still him, but it's just ran through his son-in-law. Right?
Yeah, that's what they did to Mike Tyson, right?
Yes, that's what they did to Mike Tyson, Tim Witherspoon. But a bunch of fighters are claiming this now, but then you got things for advance. These guys are getting cash advances, and then when the promoter wants their money back, they want to bitch. So...
Yeah, I wanted to touch exactly where you're going with that, brother, 100%. Listen, it's so easy to vilify promoters. It's like going after used car salesmen, right? But they're a necessary evil. And I'll tell you right now, for every Lomachenko Bob Arum has made a lot of money on, every Manny Pacquiao, and for the record, I think he lost money on that last Pacquiao fight, but they lose a lot of money. When you become a promoter, like a promoter, you're paying his rent. You're paying his food. If he's married with kids, you're feeding his kids. You're clothing his children.
Right. What does it cost?
You know what I mean?
Barclay.
It costs a lot of fucking money to have a stable of fighters, especially if they're under your wing and you're paying for everything. So fucking right, they're gonna want their slice. It's just one of those things. They're easy to vilify, but without them, the sport wouldn't exist because these guys would have to be working full time. And other than Mickey Ward, I don't know too many guys who could fucking work 40 hours a week and still go on the weekends and bang it out.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point.
I like that kid, Joe Smith. Joe Smith.
Hell yeah! Salute to
Yep.
Joe Smith.
He's
man.
the boy's an iron worker, man. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? He's part of the Iron Union and everything, man. And he goes out there and he boxes, man.
What happened to Joe
Right.
Smith?
He's got a fight coming up. I just saw.
I think he's got a fight
yeah, he's
coming
got
up.
one coming up.
All right.
Boy hits like a fucking Mack truck, boy. You got to see him hitting the heavy bag.
Inactivity is what cost. After
that
that
shit
pop,
sounds like fucking thunder. Boosh.
with his style, a fighter like him, he should have been back in the ring within 90 days of that Hopkins fight. Never mind capitalizing on his name that faded away into obscurity, pretty much. He should have been in the ring just for his time. When you fight like that, you got to fight all the time. You know,
Agreed.
speed and being slick isn't your game. If your game is just being in great shape and, you know, everything's going to be dialed in, you ride that wave. It was over a year from his next fight. It was ridiculous.
You know what,
He
man?
lost all his steam. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, bro.
Oh, no, go ahead, Jim.
I was just going to say, there's some good fights out there for Joe Smith at light heavyweight still. I know he lost to Barrera, he broke his jaw and things, but there's still some good fights for Joe Smith. I feel like you look through the rankings, I think he'd be a good fight for someone like, maybe like Artur Beterbiev, who's in activity. And then you look at the rankings in the IBF, they're shocking at light heavyweight. So someone like Joe Smith would be a good fight for Beterbiev, because we haven't really seen Beterbiev, but he's still got put down by Jeff Page early on in his career. So someone like Joe Smith Jr. would be a very good fight for him, I feel.
You know what's really Prestige can agree with this. He's closer to my age. Back in the 90s, back in the day, so he got his jaw broken. He lost the fight. That didn't even matter. Like, it's so crazy. And it's all tied in because they don't fight enough since they fight so infrequently, I guess. On top of that, Mayweather putting such an emphasis on a loss. It's so crazy, right? It's like, oh, he lost. And it just, so many boxing fans, I personally think he could be even better. He'd come back. We don't really know. He got his jaw broken. It's hard to fight a fight with a jaw broken, and we didn't see much out of him. I'd like to see him in there again. I think the kid could still be very entertaining. I want to see him in there and fight.
By the way, we have Stu on the line. Stu, are you there?
Yeah, what's happening, boys?
What's up, man? BDA's gonna be right back, guys. So
no problem.
Keep the conversation going.
I can't stay too long. I've got my lady friend here tonight, and I'm sure she doesn't want to hear about Josh Warrington all night. But I
don't strangle her, Stu. Don't strangle her.
Yeah, man. Make sure you got no scarves in your house.
We just had a little joke about scarf. It's all right. Don't worry.
No women hate.
Cheers, boys. Cheers for that, boys.
Jesus.
So
what's the topic then, boys?
We're talking about a few things. Talking about lightweight division. We're kind of talking about Joe Smith Jr. right now, man. I mean, it's better than Canelo GGG2, right?
Oh, don't do that to me, please. I've had enough of that. I've had enough of that topic to last me 3 decades. I mean, Warrington-Selby is a good fight. I think people underestimate this fight. It's funny enough. I see a Mayweather. Mayweather Gym has got a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
They was doing. Go and watch that. The Mayweather Gym prediction of Selby and Warrington. It was god awful. These guys didn't even know who these guys were. There was one guy said, "Oh yeah, Selby, not a bad bantamweight. Selby just didn't have enough to make it to the top. Just didn't have enough to make it to." I'm thinking, well, he's a featherweight. That's an unbeaten world champion. I don't know who you're on about. So I mean, these guys are fucking clowns.
Well, he's not that exciting to watch. Let's be honest, though.
No, but
I mean, Jesus Christ, I was falling asleep.
Excellent fighter.
Yeah, but the thing is, like I said, I'm not talking about entertainment. I'm talking about ability.
I remember when I watched the Mayweather channel there, where they interviewed the predictions for the Lomachenko-Walters fight. They're all jumping up. Oh, Walters gonna smoke that boy. It was fucking hilarious. Like, only one guy, the white trainer, was the only one who picked fucking Loma. It was so funny. By the next fight, it was when it was Rigondeaux, all very subdued. Probably the Lomachenko.
Here's the funny thing, though, bro. They interviewed a white Brit that was in the Mayweather Gym and asked him about the fight, and he goes, "I'm going to go for Lee Selby. I've got to back the British guy." They're fucking both Brits, man. Unbelievable.
I don't know if it was the Mayweather channel, but I watched this interaction with this kid. He's a boxer, I believe, and both of them are boxers actually. And this guy, he has a channel. I forgot who it was, man. Damn. Anyway, and they were talking about the Rigo Loma fight, right? And everybody in this gym was like, yeah, Rigo's a different ball game. Now Rigo, right? So this one kid, right? This one kid just out of nowhere. I say kid because he looks like a kid to me. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, he's a full-grown man, fights in the probably, I'm gonna say middleweight, super middleweight, and he's like, you guys are getting it all wrong. He's like, Loma's gonna school this kid. He goes, take emotion out of it. And he broke the fight down what was going to happen. Now, he didn't predict that he would quit. What he said was, I won't be surprised if this fight gets stopped at a certain point. The kid got it 100% right. He got it 100% right.
I couldn't find an LDBC channel that had Lomachenko winning that fight. They had Walters. They had Walters down as the next fucking Marvin Hagler, didn't they? Let's be real.
No, I was talking about the Rigo fight. This is the Rigo fight. You had to hear these guys, Stu. They were like, he's gonna break. He's gonna. Hey,
listen, Butcher will tell you. Hey, Butcher will tell you. He's been watching my videos for a while now. And on the Boxing Voice as well. How long have I been saying Rigo would be fish food against Lomachenko?
Oh, since the beginning, almost, man.
It's never a competitive fight. I couldn't see what all the fuss was. I really couldn't.
I agree with you. I thought the same thing too.
Also, can I ask you guys something? Because one of the things that drives me fucking berserk about that fight was you get on Twitter and you say everybody, size advantage. At no time did Lomachenko size bully him, lean on him, use his size to he used his length, of course, but you know what I mean? It's sickening. It's like fucking, do they not realize what they're tweeting out is just fucking lies?
Yeah, you got to look at it like this. Everyone says, why don't Lomachenko go up 2 weights and did what Rigo did? But when you actually look at the difference on fight night of the weights, and Rigondeaux Lomachenko, then look at the difference Linares was from Lomachenko. Lomachenko actually went and fought a bigger guy with a lot more weight on him. So that point's valid. That point's valid. Linares would spark everybody out that Rigondeaux's fought and Walters and all these guys. He's a dangerous guy, man.
He was like you said, Stu. He would spark them out.
Who the hell gave Walters a round against Lomachenko? Fuck's sake.
Fuck out of here.
The excuse is that he had a 2-year layoff. Oh, no, sorry, a 1-year layoff.
This I've said. Yeah, I mean it's the same in that graphic. When we said to him that if Walters was given a full camp, Lomachenko would still beat him. And some people are out there that say, "You don't know that. You don't know that." I'm like, listen. The reason Walters lost that fight is because his levels to this. Walters wasn't good enough. Walters was a weight bully. Let's be honest. He made a career knocking out highlighted knockouts against the likes of Nito Donaire, Vic Darchinyan, and guys like that. As soon as he moved up in weight, he wasn't knocking these guys out. I thought he beat Sosa, but that was that went to points. Mariaga, that went to points. Once he fought fighters his size, he was lacking.
And those were good fights. Those were
of course they were, but his size, when he was down at featherweight, his size was his biggest skill. And if Walters didn't have that size, he didn't have much to him.
The problem is, though, I think the problem.
I'm sorry,
bro. I was just going to say the problem is Lomachenko is going to get a lot of stick because it's hard to top Linares in that division. Who is better than Linares? The guy, whoever he fights, he's going to get stick for it because they said, he's fighting a bum. But he's already fought the best. He's walked straight into a division, fought the best guy and stopped him. Like I said, Linares, for me, is a world-class fighter.
Absolutely. I agree 100%, Stu. In fact, I'd put a 50-50 right if he would have won against Garcia. That's how good I think he is. I think he's unbelievable. And Garcia, everybody's talking like Garcia is like this monster. When he fought at 140, he went with Brona. I mean, big fucking deal. And on top of that, he looked soft. It wasn't like he was a hard 140. He was a soft 140. He didn't carry the power up, right? The 2 times he's fought at 140, he hasn't stopped anybody, has he?
No,
I don't think so.
Nope. He looked really flabby at 140, didn't he?
So exactly. So everybody's acting like, so what? You're going to come back down to 135? Yes, he does punch harder than Linares. He might be a little quicker, but he's 1-2.
He's no way quicker than Linares. He's no
No
way
way
quicker than
quicker.
Linares.
Well, I mean, not quicker, like his speed to punch, not like quick hands, nothing like that. Linares is
His
like
timing.
fucking.
You're talking about his
Yeah,
timing.
timing is
his
way better.
timing.
Better. Yeah.
I think Linares is sick. Don't get me wrong. Listen, Linares, if I was to get a kid right now and say, here, son, sit down. This is the video you need to watch. Watch this kid. I'd put him even ahead of Lomachenko because we're talking just basic, his everything. It's just pretty. You know, there's no other way to describe it. So
I did a video. I did a video about Linares, and I said he's a pound for pound. Technically, he's a pound for pound fighter, world class fighter. And I got loads of stick. I got loads of stick. If you can't see Linares is top quality, then you don't know anything about boxing. Simple as.
Nothing. Agree 100%,
I
brother.
think I was a bit critical before the fight. I was a bit critical of Linares actually on the show, saying that I wasn't disregarding him as a fighter. In terms of what he's done in boxing over the last few years, I think it was pretty overblown. When you talk about who he's beat, I mean, Gester, Campbell, Mitchell, fair enough, Crawler. Crawler, okay, he was a world champion. He beat Barroso, he beat Perez, but Linares hasn't been fighting the elite of the elite for a number of years now. I never disregard him as a fighter, but I think a lot of people were overblowing Linares going into that fight. But he proved me wrong because I didn't think he'd do as well as he did.
Well, but you're 100% right. He has been very unspectacular recently. You know what I mean? He's not going to be. He wouldn't be selling out any stadiums because But if you know what I'm saying, like we know what we're looking for. So yes, his hands, everything he does, is great. But he impressed me too, brother.
Yeah, Linares. Listen, man, Linares is a good fighter. He hasn't fought the greatest oppositions. Obviously, besides Lomachenko, but then again, I look at it as this is a guy who's been knocked out. He was knocked out before that, and to go on a nice 13-fight winning streak against, if you're not going to say they're the best competition, that's decent level competition and winning on the road sometimes. You got to give him credit, man. And I just had a feeling with that hand speed that he has, that he's always displayed, that he was going to have a moment or two versus Lomachenko.
I think Linares is one of them fighters that took a while to peak. He was a good fighter, don't get me wrong, but he never reached his best. And in the last few years, I've seen it in him. All right, he's been taken to deep waters, but he's a road warrior. He goes all around the world, defends his belts, and he puts it on the line. I think he's a tremendous fighter. I really do. Lomachenko, best win by a country mile, and it's going to be a while before he has a better win.
I have a question now. If Crawford would have fought Linares and defeated Linares, would that have been his biggest win?
Without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah. There you go.
135, yeah.
No questions asked. 100%.
This is why I don't want Lomachenko Crawford fight. I think it's ridiculous to even talk about. Look how big Linares was in there against Lomachenko. Now put Crawford two divisions above.
I mean, Crawford walks on 170s.
Hey, he'll be in the ring at 160, right? Put two divisions above Linares. Lomachenko don't stand a chance. I don't care how good he is.
He could be outboxing him and get hit one shot. His fight's over.
And the thing is,
as long as they're both.
Sorry, bro.
No, sorry. I'm sorry. I cut you off.
No, I was just going to say one little thing, and you'll get mentalists out there who will say, "Oh, Lomachenko's not proven until he fights Terence Crawford." You know what I mean?
That's stupid.
You know what that's based in? That's just based in race. That's all that is.
Yeah.
Call it like it is. That's just black fans looking for a black fighter they know can beat him. That's the closest in weight. Next guy up. Okay, yeah, you boom. That's all that is. But as long as they're both with top rank, that shit ain't happening. Never. They're not going to put them two together. Why would you put your fucking two big money mings?
Jimmy, Rigo moved up 2 weight divisions to fight Loma, so Loma has to move up 2 weight divisions.
Well, didn't he kind of already do that by going from 126 to 135?
Exactly. That's what I keep saying. That's 2 weight divisions.
Listen, they're not going to be happy. Listen, he could go in there and knock out Triple G, and it won't matter. It don't matter until he loses to a black man. No matter what he does, will be undercut. It'll be fucking shit upon, dissected until a black guy beats him. That's how it is. Listen, black people have dominated the sport from time immemorial. They've been the face of the sport forever. you can't be to me, it's mind numbing to be called a how could somebody be a white guy and be a racist if they love boxing? You know what I mean? Like Marvin Hagler was a god to me growing up because he's a local guy. You know what I mean? So I could never look at a fighter and say, "Oh, I dislike him because he's this skin color." To me, that doesn't even enter my realm of thought.
Yeah.
And now sitting back and what's that?
No, I agree with you. I agree with you, bro.
And then I go on Twitter and I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ. And it doesn't take fucking a genius to look up to the left and see the Avi. You know what I mean? Like, okay, well, there you go. Well, and you're just like, wow. And then I just went on YouTube earlier today. I break and I saw this facts over fiction. This kid has a fucking video up which actually says how Rigondeaux dominated Loma. Here's the proof.
Oh yeah.
That's the name.
Are you serious?
My hand. Hey, listen. My hand to God. He has it's facts over fiction boxing on YouTube, and he has a video. I couldn't listen to it. You kidding me? I probably would have fucking jumped out the window.
Fucking punch, man. He didn't have a punch.
But not only did he, but here's the proof. He has the proof in his video, but I couldn't see it because then I was thinking, he's probably maybe special needs, and someone doesn't know he's got his hands on a device.
They like to call Lomachenko the weight bully, right? The guy keeps going up divisions, fighting the best. He's a weight bully. Yet Jared Hurd's not a weight bully. He's just fine where he is. I mean, the hypocrisy of these people.
Right.
Yeah.
I just find it kind of. I find it odd that I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, man.
All right, Jared Hurd. I know his cut man, all right? And the ringside, he plays ringside physician sometimes. And there might be something crooked going on with Jared Hurd. But explain to me how this motherfucker fits in 154-pound weight class, all right? I mean, how is Jared Hurd doing this?
I don't even think he is.
It's not even like Robert Easter. Like, I was saying on Twitter the other day, he called out Kell Brook, and somebody said, "What do you think of that fight?" And I was thinking, well, it's not like he's Robert Easter. Robert Easter's down at lightweight. He's got a skinny frame. You know what I mean? Whereas Jared Hurt is a massive guy, man. He's thick. You see the size of the guy, man. I mean, how does he make that weight?
I can tell you what I was told. Somebody told me that the kid's like a fucking gym rat, hardcore, disciplined dude, doesn't get fat, just so he's not cutting that much weight. Because there's no way you could be walking around 180, 185 pounds and regularly making that weight. So he has to be by just common sense.
I've noticed one thing about Jared Hurd. I've noticed is that he's one of them fighters where I think if you take it to him, he's going to fall apart. I mean, even Lara was taking it to him at times. It's not even in his game, is it? Let's be real. It's Lara. It just don't function with Lara when it means coming forward and throwing punches. But he was landing regularly and doing a lot of damage. Can you imagine a come forward fighter with good technique landing clean shots on Hurd? That's when we're going to see what Jared.
He ain't going to do that with Charlo, right? Hurd,
yeah, but I can.
Charlo like that.
That's what I'm saying. Like I said, if he walks in straight lines, square on against Charlo, he's getting knocked out.
Yes, right.
But can I tell you guys something too? I've sparred and I fought guys like his style. For a white guy, I fought more like slick, you would say. You know what I mean? I would stay up on my feet. I fought smart because I was taught smart as a young kid. Jab was my gun. But I'll tell you, there's nothing more disheartening as a fighter when you crack somebody. I mean, when you get that sweet spot, like if you're playing baseball, you know what I mean?
Oh man, people dropped off, man. I don't know if BDA's there. Oh, he's there.
Yeah, I saw
the Cameron and Greg show.
Funny enough, all the Americans got kicked off and the 3 Brits stayed on. It's a bit weird that.
Yeah, I mean, people are keep dropping. Butch, are you back?
Yep.
All right. Yeah.
It doesn't seem to kick any of the Brits off. It's weird.
Yeah, never.
It's so very weird.
So
very weird. Yeah, man.
Conspiracy theory.
Yeah, conspiracy.
Back to the Lara fight. I thought Lara was going to do Hurd, but like Stu was saying, man, Hurd is just a big bully. And once someone with some class and a bit more weight on him, I think they'll do him quite easy.
Can I just ask, I don't know if you got to, but have you guys done their predictions for the fights this weekend yet?
Selby knockout easy. You watch the public workout with Selby, man. He looks different class.
No, it's just I just know that now BDA I think he writes down all the predictions and then.
Oh yeah, he does the
yeah.
public predictions. Yeah.
Hey, by the
I just
way,
didn't
Go
know if we
ahead.
put him on there.
Give us your prediction for Badou Jack against Stevenson.
Has everybody else done their picks like on a previous show or something?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Adonis Stevenson knocking him out in 4 rounds.
oh,
You're joking, right?
No.
why is
with
that?
Cameron.
Well, wait a minute, Butcher. Why is that so hard to believe?
I don't know, 4 rounds.
It can, he
I
can
agree
end
that
it
if
in 1
Stevenson
round.
wins, it's gonna be early, but
I think
after that,
Stevenson.
he's gonna break down.
I think Stevenson. Yeah, Stevenson's gonna win. It's gonna the later this fight goes, the worse it is for Stevenson. But I feel like Stevenson. I think he's very very underrated in how he draws you in to land the left hand. He done it with Dawson. He done it with pretty much everybody. So and Badou Jack's there to be hit. I know like he's a bigger guy and he's in his prime. But I feel like Stevenson can knock anybody out that way, and I feel like he's gonna get him out early.
So I think Badou Jack is quite defensively sound. I think he's quite a solid guy, and if he could take the sting off Stevenson's punches early on and take it to the latter rounds, he comes on strong late, and he's very methodical, and he just does everything well. And I think he's going to wear Stevenson down. I'm going for a Badou Jack stoppage. I think I said points, but I've changed it to a stoppage.
That would be the.
I'm riding with
I'm sorry.
Badou Jack, and I don't know about a stoppage, but he's going to have to get on the inside with Stevenson, and I think I'll tell you, Badou Jack is a live underdog. People, go put some money on him for real. I got mine tied up in my attorney, or I would be putting money on Badou Jack.
You got tied up in my attorney. But wait a minute, let's.
I'll be eating a lot of humble pie if Badou Jack wins this weekend. But I'm just got a feeling Stevenson's gonna do him early, man. I just got a feeling.
Well, hold on. I have to get the predictions back because I didn't write them down. So Cameron, I already got yours down, but who was it that it was Boxing Junkie? I didn't get your prediction. Could you repeat your prediction, Boxing Junkie?
I just went with Badou Jack.
Badou Jack.
Badou Jack, yeah. He's
Decision?
a live underdog in the fight, man.
Decision, or you got to give a specific result?
Oh, all right. Badou Jack by decision.
All right, decision. And Stu, you said, oh, what the fuck?
I thought I said Badou Jack by decision, but I'm going to change it. I just don't. I think people are getting a bit excited. They still think Stevenson's that guy that fought Chad Dawson. This is a guy that's been inactive. He's getting out. He's got to be 40 years old. Just because BoxRec tells you he's 36 or 37, whatever he is, he's a lot older than that. Let's be real.
Yeah, he's 41. He's 41.
Yeah. So I just think at 40, at that age, in that division, the body starts to shut down. And Badou Jack is in the prime of his life, and he's an athlete. He's going to be coming on strong for 12 rounds. I just think he's going. Let's be real. Fonfara took Stevenson to deep waters, and Fonfara is fucking useless. He lost to Nathan Cleverly, didn't he? Or he beat Cleverly, but it was a close fight. Do you know what I mean? He went toe to toe with Cleverly, and look what Badou Jack did to Cleverly. So, you know.
Joe Smith knocked him out in 1 round or something.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Yeah, but Smith is heavy-handed.
Yeah. The thing is, man, I agree. I agree with what Stu's saying about Stevenson, being old and everything. I think it's a big risk, picking Stevenson. The thing is, I know that the power is always going to be there for Stevenson. I think I put on Twitter earlier. I feel like he slowed down. It looked like he slowed down against Thomas Williams, and it looked like he slowed down against Fonfara last time out, and he's inactive. But I think the power was always going to be there. It's just a matter of whether or not he can actually land a shot.
The thing is, though, bro, to be a big puncher, you've got to get your timing right. You can be the biggest puncher in the world. David Hayes, a big puncher, couldn't land all night. You've got to get your timing right. And when you're not fighting regularly, your timing's off. Sparring's not good. It's just good for fitness and get the punches off, but it's not really good for timing because it's a different animal in there when you're in a professional fight. So he's not been inactive. I think it's all about having big punching power, but you've got to be able to connect. I don't think he's going to connect.
Yeah, I can see that.
And by the way, Jimmy, what was your prediction? I didn't write it down.
Hello. Well, I think it's safe to say we all want to see fucking Jack smoke that human trafficking rodent. But
wait a minute.
you know what I mean? Let's
Wait a
be
minute.
honest. What a fucking douchebag. A horrible human being. Fuck him. So it's hard. I want my head. Like Stu laid out the perfect game plan. If I was his trainer, that's exactly what I'd say. And if it goes the distance, that's what I think it's going to be, honestly. So I'm going to have to make a pick. I'm going to go with that. But what, like Cameron said, man, he does have one of the nastiest left hands. That dude can put some smoke on it. But like fucking Stewart said, that timing's important. So it's a weird thing. I think it goes the distance, Badou Jack. And if it's not going to, the only way Stevenson, in my book, can win, he has to knock him out. But it's just one of those fights. He's going to have to be in the top of his game. I hope he did his road work, because he's going to have to be on his bike. He's going to have to he's 41 years old. As long as he can eat his shots off the arms until the 4th or 5th round, if he can take enough starts off those punches, then he can win a decision. And he's definitely a better athlete. So yes, I'm going to go with Badou Jack for decision. And I don't know anything about that Selby fight, but I like that kid. So I think I like him. I'm going to go with him. I didn't do enough research on it, but I can't just say, I don't have a pick.
They're sleeping on Selby. Sleeping.
Well, hold on.
Stu, who do you got in the Selby fight?
I got Selby.
I'm right with my UK brother. Absolutely. Throw my money on Selby.
That fight's not competitive, man. That fight's not competitive at all.
It's not.
People are sleeping on Lee Selby. Lee Selby is a very talented. He's one of the most talented fighters in the UK.
The fight's not competitive, man. The fight's not competitive.
He's just not a name. I mean, this is a problem. The guy's from the valleys of Wales, where there's probably only 40 people living there, and he just hasn't got a backing. That's his problem. Mm-hmm. Josh Warrington, he has 20,000 at his fights, but the guy's got 3 KOs in like 25 fights. Do you know what I mean? So
the guys. I think Lee Selby for me. I think it's on paper, the build-up's good and all that. It's at Ellen Road, but this fight's not competitive, man. Lee Selby's going to do a real job on him. Do you know what, man? I wouldn't be surprised if Lee Selby stops Josh Warrington, to be honest.
I agree.
I've put money on it. It's going to happen.
I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest.
Selby's dad even said Warrington's not top 5 fighter in Leeds.
Oh, hold on, Greg. Which round are you picking?
I ain't picked the round. I've just picked TKO. But
by the way,
Stevenson before 6.
Hold on. So you're saying Selby by KO, and you're saying Stevenson.
What were the odds on that, Greg?
Weren't great. It's probably more than double your money, but it ain't great.
Well,
it's better than it should be. It's a bit like the Groves Eubank fight, where the odds are more than they should be.
All right, but Greg, you're picking Stevenson by KO. You said.
Yeah, before 6. I ain't that confident on that one.
All right,
but then
now
again,
back to
my prediction for Lee Selby, Josh Warrington is Lee Selby stops him in the 10th.
Yeah, all right, hold on a second. Hold on.
The thing with Warrington throws a lot of punches because he's not a big puncher. He has to throw a lot of punches to win the fight because he has to win it on points because he's not stopping. I know he stopped Kiko Martinez, but who doesn't stop Kiko Martinez? Let's be real.
Yeah,
guy's a punching bag. So he's going to have to get inside Lee Selby to do his work, and he's going to be getting countered, and he's going to be hit with straight rights all night. It's going to be a torrid time for him. For me, I'm going for I'm going to go for a Selby points decision.
He's going to get pasted up. Like Warrington's maybe win 1 or 2 rounds at least. But that's it.
All right.
He'll win more than that because Selby he's one of these fighters that has breaks and breathers. That's what I don't like about him. Let's fighters get back into fights that they've got no business in.
I think Selby will put on a proper clinic this fight, though, to be honest, man.
And in terms of resume, you have to go with Lee Selby as well. I mean, listen, I know people are going to talk about... I mean, not Selby. Yeah, you got to go with Selby because people are going to look at his win over Montiel and say, oh, he was old. But he wasn't that old. I mean, he was just past his peak, but Selby was able to outbox him. Warrington, he fought Amagasa, but that fight, it was like... Here's the thing about Warrington, and it's unfortunate, but it's true. He's well schooled, all right? I like he's well conditioned, but he doesn't have outstanding power or speed. And against Lee Selby, if he can't outbox him and if he can't get on the inside enough, it's not like he's going to be able to outbox Selby or take him out with one shot. So he's in a bit of a pickle here. Against Amagasa, he struggled. And I'm not saying Amagasa sucks, but it just goes to show you that I do think that Warrington... By the way, is this fight being overhyped? in the UK? Are they trying to make it more competitive?
No, honestly, there's
Yeah, this is a solid British fight, well title fight. Josh Warrington has earned the right to be there. He's a very good fighter. Don't get me wrong. I just think he lacks range. That's why Amagasa was fucking troubling. Look at the size of Amagasa. Selby's long and range as well. He's just getting inside. Once he gets inside, he does his work and he's busy. But it's just getting inside, and that's the problem. He's going to be eating right hands off Selby all night.
There's no hype about this fight, to be honest with you. Like, you don't really see many people talking about it.
There's 25,000 tickets sold, so it's not too bad, is it?
No, it's not too, especially for a Frank Warren shot. I mean, obviously Josh Warren's a big ticket seller, but only the hardcores are talking about it. It doesn't attract a casual fan apart from Leeds football fans.
Well, Josh Warrington, he's bringing in more than Deontay Wilder, that's for sure.
And by the way, it's interesting because I didn't see the Kiko Martinez versus Warrington fight. What happened there? All I see is majority decision. Did Warrington struggle against him or?
Not really. I thought Josh Warrington beat him up, to be honest with you.
Huh.
Kiko Martinez is finished, man. I mean, this guy's been beat. I mean, he's the guy that Brits just love to bash up, isn't it? I mean,
it's a bit like Carson Jones.
Yeah. He's the featherweight Carson Jones, isn't he?
The thing is that Carson Jones actually puts in good performances, also, I guess, but
Carson Jones is very underrated. Very, very. The problem with Carson Jones, I just don't think he's dedicated to boxing. You know,
Kiko Martinez got beat up, man.
He's always out of shape, isn't he? Carson Jones is always out of shape, man.
Kiko Martinez got beat by Scott Quigg, Carl Frampton, Josh Warrington. Yeah, Josh Warrington. Who else he been beat by over here? Is that it, I think?
You said
BDA,
Quigg,
before we go, we should also make our predictions for the Russell Jr. Joseph Diaz fight, no?
Oh boy.
Man. Make the most of that, man. It should be every time Gary Russell Jr. fights, it should be a national holiday.
Listen, we'll get him on Butcher. We should get him on Saturday.
I've seen more eclipses than I have Gary Russell Jr. fights.
I think we should do it, Butcher. I think we should do it on Saturday because I have to write all the names down and it's
okay.
But here's my thing. With Selby, at least Selby also stylistically, he's already fought somebody that fights a little bit like Warrington when he fought Gradovic. So I just think Selby has had the better performances and fought the better competition. Whereas Warrington, he has never, I mean, the closest guy he's fought, as far as I know, that resembles Selby a little bit is Amagasa, and he was strolling in there. So that's why I was asking whether this fight was being overhyped in England in terms of the competitiveness of it.
But the winner of this fight, sorry, Cameron, quickly, just the winner of this fight fights Frampton. The deal's almost already done.
Huh.
Selby beats Frampton, man.
Yeah, he probably does. But the winner of this fight will fight Carl Frampton. That's guaranteed because Frampton's with Warren as well, isn't he?
Yeah, man. Could have said there's some real cold-hearted people in the chat. Where is it? John Gonzalez says, "I hope a sudden cardiac arrest defeats Stevenson in the ring."
So wait a minute. Do you? But you've said worse shit than that. Everybody's said worse shit than that.
I'm not, man. I've not wished death upon a fighter, man, on this show ever.
I think you did.
That is a bit harsh. At least a bullet in the head or something.
Oh, like with Frank Warren? What the fuck? And by the way,
Frank eats bullets. He catches them in his teeth.
Hey, let me ask you this: if the Selby versus Warrington fight doesn't do well in terms of ratings or anything, does Warren go around asking people to shoot him in the head, or is he going to be fine with it?
All I know is that it's on BT. It's on BT Sport. That'll do okay. That will. BT Sport's big.
Well, don't forget. After the fight, we are going to be streaming again another podcast. We'll be previewing or talking more about Stevenson versus Jack, and of course, get predictions on Gary Russell Jr. versus Joseph Diaz Jr. Because I think that's going to be a fantastic fight. If you guys like speed versus speed, you're going to love that fight because that's what it's all about, baby, with those two guys. Speed versus speed. Doesn't make for the most action-packed fight, but man, it's quite entertaining watching two guys with quick fists and legs going at it. And,
someone's got a dog in the background.
Someone's wife's escaped.
Oh, Greg with the fucking home run, man. Wow. Greg, man, you should have been there.
Where's Boxing Style tonight, man?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's why there's been no background noise, bro.
It's interesting.
Off again.
Yeah. Hey, last night, it's interesting. Boxing Style wanted to talk boxing last night when we were talking over at Second Renaissance when we were talking about MGTOWs. And all of a sudden, he doesn't come on when we're talking boxing. I don't know what's going on.
Man. Boxing Styles background noise is bad, but Apology's mic quality is shocking. I said it into the chat last night. I was like, you need to get a new mic.
Yeah,
It's
he's
getting
gonna.
bad, man.
He said he's gonna get a. He said he's
but
gonna get a.
are we ending it soon? Or?
I think Apology's actually calling in from the fucking space station, isn't he? 'Cause, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, Butcher,
I
we're
have a
ending it.
question.
Yeah.
If Adonis Stevenson loses, will that be the end of the Adonis Stevenson curse?
No. Unless he retires.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Jimmy was bath-mouthing Adonis Stevenson quite a bit there. I don't know if that constitutes. I don't know if that makes him a target for the curse.
Do you know what, man? I don't know, man, because if Stevenson loses, I mean, I don't want Stevenson. I don't wish a fighter to get beat, but I just want to see Stevenson get beat just to see what low place talks about nowadays. That's all I want to see.
Listen, nobody likes him here in Montreal, by the way. Most people don't.
Oh, do you know what, man? I got a lot of Canadian boxing fans who I kind of talk to, and all of them are picking Jack. They all want Jack to win.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, he's not a good fucking human being. Let's be honest. Look at the charges what were laid against him.
But
Yeah, if you read that article, man, there's an article about it.
Yeah, I read the whole thing. It was disgusting. What a disgusting. Imagine having some fuck. Imagine having a fucking young teenage girl like looking you in the eyes for help, and you slap her in the face and you shove her in something to go so sweaty middle-aged fucking douchebags can rape them, and you're fucking making money off it. You're a soulless cockroach, and he'll pay for it one way or another.
What exactly
I think Badou Jack
doing?
Badou Jack might be the karma that comes his way.
Well, hold on. Who asked the question? Who just?
Boxing Junkie.
Yeah, you asked
I
what?
have no idea what's going on with Badou Jack and these young girls and shit. What is it?
Stevenson, man.
I mean Stevenson, yeah, Stevenson.
He was a pimp, basically.
He was a pimp, yeah.
Okay, he's a pimp.
He wants to fight. He's calling out if he wins. If he beats Badou Jack, he wants Tony Bellew at cruiserweight.
Oh man.
I
Do you know
think
what, man? I
Tony-
wouldn't mind seeing that fight.
I'd tell you what, Tony Bellew will knock him out Sparko, mate.
Yeah, cruiserweight, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't just pimp too. He was involved in human trafficking. So
But
like,
didn't
they
he
were
pay
fucking,
his-
you know what I mean? That's some wretched shit.
Well, hold on. Didn't he pay his debt to society?
Scumbag of a human being.
But I just want to clarify that he paid his debt to society, right? I mean, at what point do we say, listen, that was in the past?
Well, the thing is,
Paedophiles pay their debt to society. We're going to give them a pass as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you're doing so, if you're involved with underage girls, no, you don't pay your debts, man. You're fucking scum of the earth, mate.
Exactly. Yeah, you paid it to society, you know, in that way.
You know, I don't have to choose to fuck with people like that. So
exactly.
If you're a man and you're any way, shape, or form harming underage kids, no, mate, you should be lynched. I'm sorry. That's just being generous.
100% on your side. That shit's just unforgivable. Listen, even in jail.
I was reading the other day that a paedophile in England.
Well,
he
listen,
raped a child, and he went to prison, and they got him in it. They got him in his cell, cut his fucking testicles off, right, and he bled to death in the cell, mate. So these people don't, you know, they can't even feel safe in the prison cells, mate. People are looking for them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, they get butchered in prison. This fucking.
Shit.
They're supposed to be
It's
put
right,
on.
Inmates are locked up. So if you're doing a fucking 20, to life bid, and you got daughters on the street or ex-wives, you can't do nothing. You're worried about them. So the only retribution they have to rapists, you might not been my wife this time, but I'm gonna take it out on you. That's why even in jail amongst cons, this fucking protocol. And you start raping children, you're dirt. You
A
know,
lot of the
they gotta
time, a lot of the times, the screws set it up as well for them to get it. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
of course they do. The fucking, you get sent to jail. I'm telling you right now, before they hit their cell with their roll in their hand, everybody on the block knows their charges. That's 100% fact every time.
Look,
it's not
and then if they'll ask you for your paperwork if you don't have it.
So
I'm not talking county, but if you're upstate and you don't, if somebody calls you out in your paperwork, well, usually you're supposed to fight them after because they're questioning you. But if you don't show your paperwork, that means you're either a rat or a fucking diddler.
Now, hold on a second. Let me just ask. So it's not like in the movies where they always ask each other, like, what are you in for? Like, nobody knows in the movies. So you're saying that's not how it is?
That's an insult. If you're an inmate and someone comes up to you, what are you in for? It's like, fucking, what are you, a
No,
fucking, write a story? That means you're trying to...
I'm going to disagree with you right now, all right? Because I was charged with a serious crime, okay, that involved violence. So I'm not going to I'm not going to fucking show you my papers for shit. You feel me? I'm just not. It's a serious crime, and there's rats in that motherfucker too.
County, yep, when you first get busted before you get convicted.
Ah, shit. People keep dropping all the time.
Oh, man, that's
well,
getting
listen,
interesting as well.
When he comes back, we'll let Jimmy finish when he comes back. By the way, may I just remind everybody about Matthew 6:14. For if you forgive other people when they sin against you, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. But if you do not forgive others their sins, your Father will not forgive your sins. All right, people. So let's just keep Matthew 16:14 in the back of your mind the next time you think that you do not deserve.
Prince Patel.
Yeah, people keep bringing that.
An absolute fucking gobshite. That's
Go watch that fucking interview he did with Coogan yesterday, man. The guy is a clown.
Hold on. We can't go all over the place. I wanted to let Jimmy finish his... No, who was it? Was it Boxing Junkie? Who was telling a story right now?
Well, Junkie and
Boxing Junkie. Boxing Junkie was talking about how he wasn't showing his papers and things like that.
Right,
and he got cut off.
And I'm sorry, but what I was saying, that's in county too. Definitely, when you're first charged with a crime, you still have an open case. You don't tell anybody about what's going on. Anybody comes up to you, that's shady. But I'm talking about when they ask for paperwork, is at the state level. That's when you've already been convicted. So if you get 15, 20 years conviction and you're on a cell block, and say the block boss or whatever, you know what I mean, comes up to you and says, "What are you in for?" You know, if they ask you for your paperwork and you don't show it, that means you're hiding something. But in county, when you first get locked up and you have an open case, you don't talk to anybody about your shit because somebody's always trying to sell your information to the DA.
That'll go against you in court.
Exactly. No, in county, when you first get locked up, you have an open case, just open charges. Someone comes up to you and asks for your paperwork, fucking start swinging. Seriously, for real.
They be sharing that shit though. Like, what surprised me was last time I was locked up, it's like shit done changed because I haven't been arrested in a minute, and just going through the jail system here in Baltimore, it just changed so much.
I'll tell you what, right?
Everyone was just exposing. They were just like, "Oh, I'm being charged with this. I'm being charged with this. I'm being charged with this."
All young kids, right? All young kids, right? Young fucking gangbangers,
all
just
young kids. Yeah, and
acting.
Hey, I watch a lot of prison documentaries from the UK. I tell you what, there's one place I won't want to go to jail, and that's America, man. I couldn't imagine doing life in one of them fucking prisons. They're the most. They're the most. Violent people, man. The most violent people on the planet.
I can back you up on that, bro, because I watch a lot of UK documentaries as well, and you look at the difference in how they're run compared to America. I mean, you think you're going to a fucking camp fucking party in UK compared to the UK.
They've got PlayStations in their cells in the UK.
I know, man. I know.
But my best friend, I just went to Triple G Jacobs with. He got out the week before. He just wrapped up a 12.5-year bid.
Oh, good for him.
And he was up at Shirley Supermax, Sarah Banowski's Shirley Supermax. And he was telling my girl, because she would just, what was it like? He said, let me describe it for you. You live in a constant state of fear interrupted by fucking blast of terror.
Jeez.
The minute they crack your doors, you're either ready to fight. Like it was his first time being locked up out of county, but yeah, he did 12 years and he told me how and the kid's like, "Oh shit, might pop off tonight, man." And he's handing him fucking bread bags. You know, when you buy a loaf of bread in commissary, they save the bags. So if they're gonna stab you, because blood, you get back spray. So if you bag up, you put your bags up, the elastic band around it. So when they start stabbing, it kind of covers the spray. And another thing too, if you see a kid, they take the wraps, they take their sheets and they fucking rip it up to make hand wraps. Because if you get a fight, say you got a kid, you go by the guard, sees this kid, he's all knuckled up. He has everybody stick their hands out, any broken hands, what's going on. So if you see a kid, carrying wraps and there's all kinds, it's a whole culture in it, but it's horrible, man. It's the worst. And this kid, I'm telling you, just did 12 years, is one of the toughest kids I ever met. For him to say he lived in constant fear, that says a lot. This kid's a fucking bad dude.
I've never done any time. I had a great attorney. Shout out to Senator Stone. Okay, thank you, man. Senator Stone, you're the best attorney ever. But if the DA's listening, eat a dick. And yeah, I'm not guilty, by the way. All right. I don't know
by the
what
way,
people are talking about.
Boxing Junkie, if you ever need a good attorney, we can get you in touch with the ones that represents the BDA organization. We got Hugo Shapiro. Hugo Shapiro. This guy's amazing. Man.
I appreciate it.
Pavel will get info on the judge. He'll get you off.
Exactly. There you go. But so you guys are saying jail is bad then? That's what we learned on the show.
Well, federal time is better. If you're gonna have to do time, you try to do federal because there's less kids.
Is it like Oz?
If I was looking at a 20 stretch in America, I'd be looking at the fucking the light sockets and seeing if they can hold my weight, because I would not be hanging around there. I'd be finding any way to hold my fucking
My God.
I'm not staying in one of them places, man. I mean, I went to prison in a youth prison. I learnt my lesson quick. I did 3 years. I lost a lot of my best years of my teenager in prison. And where I went was a very violent place. The youth prisons are actually worse than the men prison, because you've got these young guys full of testosterone thinking they're fucking Tony Montana. So you're constantly in fights, and it woke me up. Just put it this way, I've not been in trouble since.
Juvenile halls, even juvenile sentences here are terrible. Yeah. Kids all some man child just because he's 17 years old, but he could be fucking 220 pounds and he's fucking beating him.
When I got sentenced, right? When I got sentenced, the first night I was there, I lost like 12 days. I had to do an extra 12 days because I had to beat someone up, because someone came in my cell trying to take my magazines off me, man. I'd only just got the first day I was there, I lost 12 fucking days onto my sentence, man.
Well, you did the right thing, because if you didn't fight, then you would have been a punk.
Yeah. Oh, they'd have had my stereo next, wouldn't they?
Exactly. Yeah.
Right, and check this out. In Baltimore, back in the day, if you were a juvenile, you got sent to a place called Hickey. All right. Now, Hickey has been shut down because of the way it was ran. I can testify, man. I know people that did time in there. The juvenile facilities are no fucking joke.
They're not. I mean, some of these guys, bro. Some of these guys, because I was like a young guy, like 16, and it goes up to 21, and some of these guys are like 20, 21, and they were monsters. They were monsters. Yeah, because they've been training constantly in the gyms. They're big fucking guys, mate. Do you know what I mean? And it was a lot of the bullies from other prisons used to get sent to this one. So he was just constantly watching it back. It was a fucking hellhole. A lot of people used to say the men's prisons were a lot more relaxed, but I don't know. I've never been in a men's jail.
Well, has anybody ever seen American Me, the movie?
Yes, I got American Me saved on my little fucking. You can actually purchase it if you got like iTunes or whatever.
That's a frightening. That's a frightening movie right there, man. I mean, apparently the guy Edward J. Olmos, I think that's the actor. He actually got death threats from the Mexican mafia because he wasn't portraying them. It's not a movie that glamorizes prison life. It's a movie that really it's a tragic movie. But hey, speaking of Adonis Stevenson and Edward J. Olmos, apparently Edward J. Olmos banged Harvey Keitel's young daughter. I don't know if I think she was underage at the time, and that's why Harvey Keitel hates Edward J. Olmos. So maybe we'll see Edward J. Olmos hanging around with Adonis Stevenson. I don't know. Maybe he's gonna be ringside during the fight. People in the chat, man, they're going all over the place about jail. Nice Kitty says, if you're gonna get in federal is a work camp. You'll beg to be on the chain gang. Some guy, what?
My brother just did 10 years in a federal prison.
10
the thing
years.
Is that Butcher and BDA, they'll be all right if they go to prison in America, because the fucking Mexicans run most of them, so they could just fall at the place.
Nah, but you still have
Well,
to
they do on the West Coast.
You still gotta kill. You still
From
gotta
Texas
kill
to
somebody.
California, the MMA or Mexican mafia. No,
Right.
they're deep. You don't cross them.
They're divided anyways, but you have two gangs, two types of Mexicans. So I mean, you have the Mexican mafia, then you have the Sureños, Norteños, and all that shit. So they're not united.
Technically,
No,
I'm a
I think
Norteño.
the North the North Mexicans and the South Mexicans are warring in prison.
Yeah, the Norteños and the less. Yes.
The Sureños. Yeah.
But
I
they all answer to him.
Can you imagine being a white English guy going into American prison? Right, you walk in, you've got the Mexican mafia in one corner, you've got the Bloods and Cribs in another, and then you've got the Aryan Brotherhood. I mean, it's a great choice, really, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Fuck,
But
you know,
it's kind of like
I'll tell you,
white boy in America going to prison, you know.
yeah, but Stu, you'd probably be a pod boss because your personality. Because I'll tell you, I worked at a prison, and they're never the guys who run the show. A lot of times they're the smallest guys. They're the smartest. You're the quickest personality. And you're charismatic, and they get those big crash test dummies to do all the dirty work for them.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I'm good. It's one of them where you have to be on top form minute just to survive. Do you know what I mean?
Yep. And you get those fucking big meatheads to go, hey, go stab him, dude. I'll give you a fucking packet of oodle and noodles.
Jeez. A chocolate bar. Yeah, they give you a chocolate. Don't ever accept a gift in jail because somebody gives you a gift. The next thing you know, he comes over. Hey, remember the chocolate bar he gave you? Well, now you gotta eat my ass, motherfucker. It's like, oof, no, don't accept any chocolate bars in jail. Man.
Well, in jail, everything's 2 for 1. If you do front somebody, it goes on a lot. Hey, front me a soup. Front me a fucking candy bar. You got to pay him back twice in commissary. But people get thrown off the tier for not paying back a Pepsi and a candy bar. If you fucking wrap your head around that, right?
Yeah.
Where's my candy bar? I'm going to get a 20 more years added to my sentence because you didn't pay me back my Milky Way, motherfucker.
And by the way,
got some brains.
Stu talked about how jail is divided. You know, like you go with the people that you look like. So, you know, Mexicans go with the Mexican mafia, the Sureños, the Norteños. You got like the blacks and the Caribbean people hanging together. So in other words, it sounds a lot like the YouTube boxing community. Everybody's it's almost like,
well, I'll tell you right now, and even people who didn't want to like race up, because back in the 90s when I worked there, you would see white kids come in and, you know, the terminology back then, you know, probably still not, I don't know, but he was wigger. You know, the kid would act like he's black and they would come into the system with that mentality. Hey, what's up, brother? And they think, oh my God. And then by the third day, they're off by themselves because I don't care even if their brother's like, get the fuck out of here, you idiots. And then the white people hate him even worse because he was trying to act black. And so now they're going to have to fucking either get transferred or go to the hole.
You don't have a choice in America. You can't just say, well, I'm going to go and chill with the Mexicans. They look a nice bunch of crew. It don't work like that. You know,
no, you got to race up for survival.
You're going to go where you're going to go where your people are. See, in the British prisons, it's not really like that. It's the wheel mix. It's not really, you know, it's a very racist country, America. It's all about race in it at the moment. But in Britain, it's not really like that. You don't really get black gangs in one corner, white gangs in the other. We've got no Aryan brotherhoods in the UK. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, man. But even in the listen, jail, unless you're in Sweden, I've seen, you remember that guy that shot up a bunch of kids in a kindergarten in Sweden and they showed his jail cell. This is a guy who killed children, tons of them. And he's in a jail cell with a PlayStation, like Stu said, in England, some of these guys have play. In Sweden, it looks like a hotel room. It looks like a Japanese hotel.
Dude. It was nicer than my first apartment. Swear to God.
At least
it's fucking blew away children, and he had a fucking widescreen TV practically. It was crazy. I'm like, what the fuck?
The guy. I don't know if you remember the Lockerbie disaster when Libyans blew a plane over Scotland.
They let him out.
Yeah, did you see his prison cell? He had his own cooker, right? He had a microwave, he had a TV. The guy was sitting there cooking fucking chicken tikka masala and shit. Do you know what I mean? The guy's killed fucking people on an aeroplane. He's got his own little restaurant going on.
But Unbelievable. To be fair, they only get massages 2 times a week instead of the usual 3 in other prisons. So it's not all it's cut out to be. You know, let's be fair about it. But man, let me tell you something. I was talking about forgiving Stevenson for his past transgressions, but this guy that murdered a bunch of children, like, why do you keep him around? Like, you know, that one I can't forgive. I'm sorry. I mean, it's you killed a bunch of 5-year-olds or less, younger than that, and he shot them up like they were a bunch of cattle or squirrels in the woods. That guy needs to go, man. I'm sorry. I mean, that's just my opinion.
He needs to die. Just shoot him. Know the money they spend on right now. The average cost for an inmate, I think, is $86,000 average out in the United States. That's per year per inmate. In this country, prisons have become a huge business. It's an industry. Just never mind the people who make the uniforms. So, like, you know, Bob Barker, The Price is Right.
Right.
He made his millions from those starter kits when they first, like, our buddy here from Baltimore, he was just, you know, when he was first like, you know, that little starter kit with that little toothbrush that's 2 inches long and this bar of soap and those fucking flip-flops they give you, know, that little kit. Bob Barker owns the company that makes that and sells it to the whole prison system. If you actually did the breakdown, prisons have become such big business, and they just keep filling them up with minorities, filling them up. And it comes down when I say minorities, because the people without the money don't have the money to pay for the good lawyers, and they just fucking bang, bang, these crazy sentences, and it's nuts. It's become it's an issue. It's a real problem. I mean, what is a third of all black people are locked up by age of 21? That's ridiculous. Done some prison time. It's just, don't get me going. That's the reason why I left that job. I saw it firsthand how kids with money didn't go to jail, but the kids who were poor did. And not just black, white, poor. I mean, just poor people. When I say, it's poor, not fucking skin color. Just, it is what it is.
It's a business, like you said. It's a business. And by the way, I thought you were going to say that Bob Barker made his money in jail. I thought you were going to say that he had done a 20 stint in jail.
Yeah, about that shit. Millions, made millions.
Jeez. Anyway, overhand, but that's the thing. See, overhand in the chat room says, are we still talking boxing? What the fuck do you think? Of course not, we're not talking boxing anymore. We're talking about jail. See, this is what goes on in this show. We talk boxing, and then at the end of the hour or the last half hour, we start talking about something else. Listen, guys, that's how it works. If you're new to the show, I'm just gonna tell you right off, that's how it works. We don't talk boxing all the goddamn time. We need a little bit of respect.
Yeah, I mean, we can't talk about Adonis Stevenson's power for 3 hours, can we?
Exactly. I follow the conversation. You guys are always interested. It's always an interesting topic.
Whether Adonis Stevenson from Badou Jack to this.
Was that
what though? I'm surprised Low Place had done a 24-hour show on this fight. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's perfect.
You should just see it. You should just see it. You don't need to, bro. Just follow his Twitter. That's all I'm going to say. Just follow his Twitter.
Hey,
BDA, excuse me. This is the Boxing Junkie. It was my pleasure, gentlemen. I'm having technical difficulties.
You should get your attorney on that.
BDA, Precise, shit. Who else?
3-piece.
Recognize
Jimmy.
the Matrix. Jimmy, thank all y'all, okay?
Thank you for being on,
man. And I'd like to come back some other time.
Appreciate the shout out, brother. I appreciate that, bro.
Nice meeting you, brother.
Yeah,
Take
good
care.
to meet you, and thanks for being on.
Best of luck with that situation you got too.
Yeah, that's no joke right there, man. But yeah, listen. So we're gonna have to go. But again, like Jimmy, just to reiterate what he said, man, I love this type of conversations, man. You guys, it's fun doing these shows. I gotta tell you, I hope it's as fun for you as it is for me. But I really like doing the shows, and last night we had a blast.
The thing is, we're all experienced guys that have got stories to tell. A lot of the guys that you see in the boxing community are very young guys, and they've done nothing but play Xbox and play on their iPhones. So they've
should I just be quiet, Stu?
Oh, Cameron, I see in the chat. I see in the chat yesterday. I see you getting very cozy and comfortable with that new chick of yours. How's it going, bro?
Yeah, man, it's getting cozy, man. I've changed, man. Like this whole arse eating Cameron thing, man. It's not me, man. Not with this girl.
I'll tell you what, Cameron, mate. Don't be fooled. Just take your time. Keep it cool and calm, because I don't want to see you coming on here with a broken heart, bro.
No, we were good, bro.
All right, and that's
why I've already been on, bro. Like, she fucked off tonight, so I thought, thank fuck, I can get on here, man.
Yeah, it's good to have you back, Cameron. It's good to have you back, man.
Well, on that note, I want to thank all of you guys for having been on. I want to thank, I have to thank the people that left first, because otherwise I forget them. A Boxing Junkie, Greg, Ray was here earlier. I want to thank Stu. I want to thank Cameron, Jimmy from Jimmy's Corner. I want Bucho, my co-host, of course. Thanks for being on, guys. Don't forget, everybody in the chat room, we have a Patreon page, so you can contribute to get us to that call-in show that we want to get off the ground, so that we can accept phone calls, and we can accept anybody's phone calls from now on. Don't forget, we're also broadcasting on Spreaker, which is a podcast platform that you can download, so you can download this show and listen to it on your MP3 player from now on. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget we do have a super chat feature, so you can leave small $1, $2 tips to get us that call-in show. So again, I want to thank everybody in the Hangout. And if you guys want to leave before I give the shout out to the people in the chat, you're more than welcome to. But again, I thank you for your service, and as always, great fucking show.
Thank you very much for having me on, gentlemen. You guys are a good group of guys. I enjoy myself every time. You guys have a wonderful night. Be safe.
Jimmy, appreciate the follow back on Twitter, bro. Look
Thank
forward
you,
to
sir.
Hey, I've got an idea for Jimmy's intro. You know, in the film Goodfellas, when they pulled off the heist and Ray Liotta's in the shower going,
One of my favorite all-time movies. One of my favorite all-time movies, brother. Thank you. You guys have a great night. Be safe, everybody.
All right, see you, Jimmy. Yeah, listen. If anybody can pull off the Lufthansa, what was it, the Luftwaffe heist? You're gonna be screaming Jimmy's name, man. Yeah, why not?
JFK Airport, man. JFK Airport.
To say, I'm very looking forward to the fights this weekend. I can't remember last time I was just looking forward to a fight weekend, so I'm looking forward to it, man.
Hey, for anybody that says
I'm out of here, boys. Anyway, see you later. Yeah.
All right, see you later, Sue.
Bro.
Yeah, for anybody that says that boxing is dead, we got 3 fantastic fights on Saturday. High quality. They're not mismatches, you know. They're almost even on paper. So I don't think anybody can. And we just had a sensational fight on Saturday. I mean, boxing is back and booming, man. I don't care what anybody says. Some people, you look at certain channels, all they do is complain. They're not even looking forward to the big fights. You know what I mean?
I just want to give a shout out to before I go. I just want to give a shout out to in the chat. I just want to give a shout out to a few guys. Punisher, We Degree, Boxing Style, man. They follow my shit as well, man. So and they're good to me in the chat, man. So shout out to them guys.
Well, there you go. Yeah, shout out. And now that you reminded me, and first of all, before I give the shout out to people in the chat room, I just want to remind them what Colossians 3:13 says: "Bear with each other." All right, bear with each other, and forgive one another. If any of you has grievances against someone, forgive as the Lord forgave you. All right, people. Anybody out there that's saying, "Oh, I don't forgive this guy," even me with that mass murderer in Sweden or whatever it was, Norway, who killed a bunch of kids. Forgiveness is a powerful weapon, my friends. And I'm not the most religious person out there, but John Gonzalez says, "I hate Bible thumping BDA." Get used to it, because I'm gonna start reading more scripture from now on. I think it's a good gig here. You know, it's a good gimmick.
A weird outro for a boxing show.
It's the perfect outro, Cameron. You should try it, man. Let me tell you something. The truth and forgiveness will set you free. Accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, and everything's gonna be fine. All right? That's all I gotta say about that.
Oh, dude.
What? You don't like what I say? You don't like what I say? All right, listen.
Yeah, man. I'll take on board.
All right. Well, we're just about to go. So if you want to go, I'm just gonna give a shout out to everybody in the chat room before I go.
All right, take it easy, man.
All right. Thanks for being on, Cameron, again, and I want to thank One Man Riot, Overhand, Reese Mack, and by the way, Overhand, I was just kidding about what the fuck do you think? Of course, I mean, listen, if you're a first timer on this show, just to let you know that this is how the show works. We talk boxing for about 2 hours, and then the last half hour or hour of that, we talk about other topics. Shout out to Reese Mack, Cachnello, Give Me My Fight, John Gonzalez, FNC Bot, Nino Gaji, Reese Mack, John Gonzalez, Hawker Mustang, who else? Rod T. Davies, going by his new name now, Fight Scout. You guys crack me up in the in the chat room with your comics, Jack Spacks. Who else was there? Cachello, Give Me My Fight was there as well. Boxing Style, we'll catch you on Saturday, my friend. We didn't have time this time. We're just about to go. Nice Kitty and everybody else. You guys know who you are. Thanks for making this show an enjoyable experience. You guys make me happy, and Bucho as well doing this show. Pretty entertaining. Like I said, you guys crack us up with your comments and also insightful comments when it comes to boxing. So on behalf of King Bucho, myself, and everybody else in the Hangout, the BDA family, we want to thank you for being on. We'll see you on Saturday, when we're going to keep talking about the upcoming fights. We'll get people's predictions, Gary Russell Jr. and Joseph Diaz Jr. See you on the next one, folks. Thanks for listening.